And welcome to this casual race of today from Sim Racing Malta. We have the casual race with the Audi R8 LMS today. It's the second casual race for the month of May. And yesterday also we announced our next casual race for next week. Here with me, as usual, Justin on my right, and George. He's a little bit hidden today on my left. He's our steward. And Justin, obviously, he's our techie.
I'm a techie.
So with us also is Joshua Penny to commentate this race today. Hello, Joshua.
Hello everyone. Hello. Welcome to the Audi R8 LMS casual race stream from Watkins, Glen. I'm looking forward to it. It's a well-renowned track. It's a well-renowned car, and surely this is going to be an event that shows both of them off in the best of lights.
Yeah, today we're gonna look at a grid of possibly maximum 18 drivers, because one of the drivers also, at least one of them already advised us that he has some problems with his pedals. So it's gonna be definitely a great race to follow today. Would like to obviously welcome on board also our new sponsor for these casual races, who is Goliath Coatings. Thank you, Goliath Coatings, for coming on board with us. So our sponsors for the casual race, our partners for the casual races are Sim News TV, Virtual Racing Engineering, and Goliath Coatings. It's good to say also that today we'll be choosing a driver. One of the drivers will be chosen by us, depending on the consistency, depending also on the cleanliness performance of this driver during the race. It doesn't mean that it would be like the podium drivers winning this, and they will be given the virtual racing engineer software that will be giving throughout this year in our casual races. So in every casual race, we'll be choosing a driver who will get this software for free. It will help the drivers, obviously, to set up their cars better for our races.
There are some drivers already doing practice. We can go over them to see what they're doing.
So actually this is unofficial practice right now. So we have some drivers already on the server giving good performances, so we'll see from there.
Yeah, we're looking over the server so far. I can see many names I recognise. Brandon Tabone, for example. He is a big name within the Sim Racing Malta community. He's been around casual races and main series races, as has Omar Barbara, who is here as well, and Alessandro Grech. Now, Grech is a name that keeps going back. Good to see Alessandro. Sandro Zara has been on this server, isn't on it now, but I can see the name is here. And then we also have some new names as well, like Justinas Saldukas, who is registered as being a Lithuanian driver, I believe. So good to see a very international field today. Michael Mercheka also here, as well as John Agwis, who only drove one race before this, which was the last time out, the last casual race, when we raced.
It's Merchia, actually. It's not Merchicha. It's Merchia in Maltese.
Merchia.
Yep,
Merchia.
that's it.
Okay. Apologies, I do butcher names sometimes. Okay, I was trying to figure out how to say that because I haven't heard it said before, but alright. Another name that I'm more confident with this one. I see another name that I haven't seen in Sim Racing Malta before, who is Jamie Gray. Jamie Gray, not currently on the server, but has been at some point, which is why his name's here, even though he's not actually here. And so far, that's everyone.
Teammate.
What's that?
There is also his teammates. They applied together, and in fact, they sent us their own livery. I forgot his name. What was his name?
Well, I also see Jamie Samud here. Jamie Samud's just loaded in. I haven't heard about any any new teams. So Jamie Gray is a new name to me for this one, but of course that's because the entry list doesn't tell me that. So never mind. If we can find any more information on that, then that would be very interesting.
I think this was one of the most casual races that they practiced quite a lot before. I mean, they've been practicing since last week. So, and the times are pretty close. If you can see the live timing, it's from 107s. There was only one driver who did 107s, and the rest 108s and 109s. So they are quite close.
Yeah, so far in this session, still a non-official practice. The top lap has coming from Brandon to Bone so far with a 1:08.397, but we've seen drivers earlier this week putting in 1:07s, so it is definitely possible. Of course, it's really quite a short lap at Watkins, Glen, so not really much time to be made up, and I believe we're actually using a shortened layout of the track as well. We are, so really not much time to be made up, but that means that it really does take the most minute of differences to make a lap, and that often makes qualifying more interesting. So we'll see what happens when we get there, and hopefully we'll have more drivers as well, because currently we don't have the number of drivers that we expected on the server, but I'm sure that well, we'll get more as the race draws nearer. Of course, we're going to have an official practice session, followed by a qualifying session, and then 2 races. Both of the races the same length. They're going to be 20 laps long, so just over 20 minutes, really. More like 25. The races are going to be, and there's going to be 2 of them. And as you say, we're not just going to have awards for the quickest drivers today, or the ones that finish on the podium, but there's going to be effectively a Driver of the Day award as well, which is going to be awarded to the drivers who are the most impressive all round. So that's in terms of pace and in terms of how cleanly they drive, and they will get some software from the virtual race car engineer as well. And good to see our new partner Goliath Coatings as well. Always good to see new partners and sponsors joining Sim Racing Malta. We've had quite a few big names in the past, and still they're coming in. So great to see new people getting on board, and well, it just shows how big an event Sim Racing Malta is, and how good the organisation is to bring in these big sponsors. I mean, we've had Porsche, we've had Praga, we've had all sorts of different companies, and now good to see Goliath sponsors on board as well.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, they give us Goliath coatings. They give us a good boost. They keep us going. They believe in us. So definitely, we need to thank all of them for supporting our venture in Sim Racing Malta.
So just a couple of minutes now until the driver briefing, and then we'll be off to the official practice session, followed by the qualifying session. I've just seen that there's been a call to be in the briefing channel about now, actually. So I believe that we're about to head over to the briefing channel as soon as everyone's ready.
Yeah, we're going to the briefing channel in a few seconds. And obviously those who will not be in the briefing channel, we're going to be having a 10-second penalty for the drivers. We sent emails in our group and everywhere. So it was impossible not to see the post. So 10 seconds will be applied to each driver that do not attend to the briefing channel.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, hi.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here in time. It seems, yes, everybody is coming in time now. So welcome for this race of today. Thank you for joining. We're going to go through the normal things that we discuss for every race we have. It's important, first of all, we will never have a restart. So unless there is a situation of a huge pileup or a server disconnection, so a race restart will never happen unless those two situations do come up. Important for our drivers, take care of your first corner. It's important to take care of the first corner because obviously the cars will be very close there and we can have some incidents. The penalties of the game applies, including the steward penalties for any irregularities from the drivers. So we have the live stewards here watching the race, which obviously will apply any penalties for any irregularities on track. It's important that you observe the blue flags, something important. If you see a blue flag, please give space to the driver behind you because he will be lapping you. Please do also take care of defending in the right manner so that we don't see any unmanly manners of defending your position. These things are actually very important because today we shall be awarding the virtual race engineer software to the best driver. We shall look at the best driver, the most consistent driver, and the cleanest driver on the race. So it doesn't mean that this software will be won by the top drivers or podium drivers, but we'll be watching all the drivers so that we'll see who manages to have a consistent race and a clean race. The race format of today, it's 15 minutes of practice, 30 minutes of qualifications, then we have 2 races by 25 laps reverse grid. We have an obligatory pitting between the 10th and the 13th lap. Obviously, who fails to pit in those laps between the 10th and the 13th lap, he will be automatically disqualified. The least you can do in the pit is 1 liter of fuel. So that's the least thing you can do in the pit. So when you go in the pit, you must put at least 1 liter of fuel. One other thing that I'm going to start introducing from today is that at the end of the race, we don't want to see cars spinning and running around in the middle of the track or just disappearing. Would like all the drivers to proceed back to pits until the server time is over.
And
any questions?
Back to pits, not just go
back to pits, driving back to pits. It's important, not back to pits from the PC. So I would like to see the drivers on track driving back to the pits instead of disappearing in the middle of the track or doing some other mayhem. So, any questions?
Even in qualifying, we have to do that?
No, back to pits, we want to see it only after the race.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
So, good luck, guys, and enjoy. See you at 8 o'clock for the official practice session.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, that was the briefing for today for our drivers. We continue to follow a little bit some of the unofficial practice. At 8 o'clock, we kick off with the official practice, followed by a 15-minute official practice, then followed by a 30-minute qualifying session, and then the 2 races of 25 laps each with a reverse grid. All drivers must pit between the 10th and 13th lap. If they don't do so, they will be automatically disqualified. So Joshua, back to you now, so that you'd continue from here onwards.
All right, so not long until the start of the first official practice session. I'm just looking through the order, and I've seen a new driver in the server who wasn't here before, and that's Clinton Falzen, I should say. Clinton Falzen, of course, a driver who's done a lot of sim racing water events in the past, and has often been quick. Not always one of the absolute top drivers, but he's always been there on a base.
It's good to mention that Clinton Falzon is the guy that believed in us. He's the guy from Goliath Coatings.
Ah, right. Well, there you go. So Clinton Falzon, not just racing here, but is actually partnered with us now through Goliath Coatings. So, well, that's very good. So very good to see Clinton on the grid, and we'll see how he does in the race today. As I was saying, never quite one of the absolute top drivers, but he's always there and about, and he's definitely a podium contender. It just depends on what sort of a day he's having.
Sure, actually, he has right now the best time in the server till now, so he's the top one with the best time in the server. So,
well, still plenty of time to for that to change, of course, but we'll have to see because official practice will be starting in 7 minutes. So again, we've got so far in this session, Omar Barbara, Clinton Falzon, Alessandro Grech, Michael Machea. Got it right that time, did I?
Machia.
Okay, Machia. Brandon Tabone, Sandro Zara, Jamie Samut, Justinas Salducas, John Aguis, and Jamie Gray, and those are the drivers so far. We have 10 of them, I believe, so that's a decent number to start off. We had about 18 on the entry list, but the full entry list is never quite what we get in any racing series, really, with sim racing. So that's to be expected. We might get more people joining in later on, but of course, this is a non-championship race. It's one of our casual races. Still, always very competitive, these casual races. So definitely reason to turn up. And if you do want a good way to get involved with Sim Racing Malta, these casual races are definitely a good way to do it. Just keep an eye out for our next casual event and put yourself on the sign-up list. You don't necessarily have to be brilliantly quick. It's all about being clean and improving as you go, and that's what we want to see. So if you want to have a go, then definitely put yourself on the entry list for the next casual race. We've got one coming up later this month, actually, I believe.
You actually have one coming up, another casual race coming up next week, Thursday, yes, next week. So yes, we have a BTCC race, which obviously it's like our anniversary race for the first 6 months of casual racing.
Yes, because of course we had a casual race at Laguna Seca, so master race with Laguna Seca with the BTCC cars. And now, of course, we're taking out the BTCC cars again. Well, not now, but later this month, we'll be taking out the BTCC cars again around Barbagallo, which is an interesting circuit in Australia. And, well, a very fast one. It's almost like the Australian version of Thruxton, if you're familiar with Thruxton in the United Kingdom. So definitely keep an eye out for that. The BTCC cars will be very suited to the track, even if the British Touring Car Championship, of course, doesn't go there. We've also had BTCC cars, although much older ones, racing recently at Okayama. We had the old Nissan Primeras racing at Okayama, and that was a lot of fun. Yeah, they were much older touring cars, but still a lot of fun they were, and the drivers liked it. So yeah, always good to see the touring cars out. And to be honest, I do know a couple of people who say that touring cars are their absolute speciality within racing. So it's definitely worth putting yourself on the entry list for that, I'd say. To be honest, I wish I was driving. Right, we're now waiting. Well, we have about 5 minutes remaining until the start of the official practice session. So really, not long now. I've just seen Clinton Falzon put in the fastest time yet. That's a 107.769. That's the fastest time I've seen yet today. And the first time in the 107s. I know that there were 107s set earlier this week, but Clinton Falzon, the first of the day in the 107s. And currently topping the order in this unofficial practice session by quite a way, actually. So although I was saying he's never really the absolute top driver, he might well be today. This could be his chance here for Clinton Falzon. So definitely keep an eye on the driver currently at the top of the order. But of course there will be others chasing him hard. So it's not over by any stretch of the imagination, especially seeing as we're not just not in official qualifying, we're actually not in official practice yet either, so still a long way to go. A lot of chance to improve and a lot of chance to gain or lose that time. And And now, actually, that's an old message. So I believe that the practice session will be starting in just under 2 minutes now. In the meantime, I'll just say keep an eye out for our next casual races. As I said, the next one is the BTCC race on the 31st of May, and then the next Porsche 911 GT3 Cup round is on the 15th of June. We'll be at the Nürburgring in Germany, of course. That's on the 15th of June, and that's round 5 of our Porsche 911 GT3 Cup Championship. That's the properly big championship that Sim Racing Malta runs in about 22 days. So keep an eye out for that.
Yep, we're gonna go for a short commercial break. We'll be back with you very shortly.
Gigabit Internet issa f'Malta. Gawdi mill-Giga Power biss mal-Melita Flexi.
And we're back now. We're just 1 minute away from the start of the official practice of today. We're going to have 15 minutes of official practice, then followed by a 30-minute qualifying session and 2 races of 25 laps each with a reverse grid. All drivers need to pit between the 10th and the 13th lap and doing at a minimum of 1 liter fuel. Those failing to do so will be automatically disqualified. So we're a few seconds or a minute away, seconds away actually, yeah. And it's like 8 o'clock now and we're gonna kick off with the official practice session. On to you, Joshua, now.
Well, I did just introduce myself, although I realised I have my microphone muted. So what I was actually trying to say was, I believe that's the first time we've seen pit stops in our casual races. So very good to see things being changed up even now, and that should be very interesting. We've seen them in the Porsche races before, but I think this is the first casual race we've seen with a pit stop. That'll be between laps 10 and 13, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, because with a track this short, it's all about track position. It's a difficult one to overtake at, and as a result, I'm sure the drivers will be just trying to pit when they know they're going to get clean air from it. As now the official practice session starts. So the official practice session has begun, and the first drivers are exiting the pit lane, and I believe the first out is going to be Omar Barbara to show us around this track. So let's watch him as he goes up through the S's. Of course, it'll all be slow on this this opening lap, seeing as he's only on an out lap now. Then, of course, down the back straight before heading to the inner loop, the chicane. It's a very difficult chicane when you're going that fast because the curbs want to throw the car around, and the brake balance is never in the right place for you. And now Barbara's actually spun it on his outlap there, so that's a bit of a dodgy start from Barbara, and he's going to have to go back to the pits, I expect. But he's been overtaken now by Alessandro Grech, who will get the privilege of setting the first lap. He's just going through the inner bit at the penultimate corner and the final corner now, and Alessandro Grech is going to be our first driver on a flying lap. Actually, it will be that. Yeah, great. First driver on a flying lap. Just going through turn 1 now. Misses the apex slightly there, and well, as we head up through the S's. The first driver to see this track in anger in this official practice session, of course. It was going to be Barbara, I believe, but Barbara spun the car on his outlap. But Alessandro Grech now puts in the first sector time. It's at 24.7, and now he runs over the grass. So the first lap for Alessandro Grech has been hasn't been a success there. In fact, I think it's been invalidated. Actually, I'm not quite sure. It still seems to be counting. We'll see at the end of this lap. But he's certainly not going to be pleased with this lap because he's been over the grass and he's missed the apex again. But oh well, still plenty of time. And again, this isn't qualifying yet. This is still official practice. So Alessandro Grech crosses the start-finish line now, and indeed, it was not a valid lap due to that run over the chicane. Clinton Falzen appears to be setting a quick one. We've seen 2 laps coming in so far. John Aguiz and Justinas Salducas, rather, were the first drivers to set representative laps. But Clinton Falzen, I believe, is about to go to the top of the order. As he crosses the line, he does indeed by over a second. So Clinton Falzen puts in a 1:08.058. We've seen that he can go quicker than that, but that's the quickest time of this session at this current point in time. Michael Machea just coming across the line to put in his first lap, and well, actually it was an out lap, so ignore me there, but he's just gone across the line to start his first practice lap. And we have about 15 drivers on the server at the minute. I think I'll count the actual number. Yeah, I think it's 14 we have now. And the new names, which I didn't read out in non-official practice, we have Glen 46. Glen 46, a pseudonym driver, so not quite sure what his real name is, but for now I'll just call him Glen 46. Daniel Streamer is here as well, and I believe those are both of the drivers that I didn't read out before. Oh, and Terence Grech. So Terence Grech, not related to Alessandro Grech, I found out, is also here, and Jamal Gandor. Jamal Gandor. Now, I don't think, have we seen? I'm not sure if we've actually seen Jamal Gandor racing in a while. I think he did the Formula Renault 3.5 race.
Yeah,
a while
exactly correct. That was the last race I think that he participated in, and this is the first casual race since a long time.
All right, well, he's back with us, so welcome back, Jamal Gandor, and well, currently third on in the order. Just seen, well, Clinton Falzen did put in a fastest first sector of time around anyone, but this second sector's been a little bit messy. He's run over the grass at the chicane, and he's bounced over the curb a little bit as well. So, in fact, he's backing off as I expect. His lap just got invalidated, so no lap there for Clinton Falzen. Brandon Tabone, I think, is about to go faster. Well, he puts his car up to 7th, so that's faster than his personal best so far. Goes up to 7th, and expecting more from Brandon. I'm pretty sure he's been faster than that, quite a lot faster than that in non-official practice. So I'm sure he has more to give later on. Daniel Streamer coming through for his first lap. I don't think this is an out lap, and he spins it, so that's not going to be a lap. Never mind it, and clouts the barrier just for good measure. But anyway, of course, still plenty of opportunities. And Gandor now goes fastest in the first sector, so a good first sector there for Jamal Gandor. He's in the chicane at the minute. That's it, keeps it within the track limits. Seeing a couple of people running over that fourth apex there sometimes. But Gandor keeps it within the limits very nicely indeed. He's currently third in the session, but it looks to me like he's on for either first or very close to it. It all depends on how this final sector goes for him. He's got one corner left after this one. Still keeping it within the track limits. That's good to see. A lot of drivers run over that curb. Oh, bit of a twitch, and he's hit the wall, but only very, very lightly, and he's gone into the inside wall as well. Probably could have gone a lot faster than that, but got the final corner a bit wrong. Whatever the case, Gandor showing some good pace there, and he's one driver with more to give. Omar Barbara currently going 2/10 up on his personal best at the minute. He is in the third sector, around the final corner now. His last lap was invalid, but it wasn't going to be a particularly quick one anyway. And now across the line goes Barbara. Is it an improvement? Oh, I think he's just. No, I think it was either an out lap or he equalled his best. Actually, I think it was an invalid lap from Omar Barbara. So no, that was his best lap. So Barbara does improve, and he's currently in 5th position. But he improved by such a little amount of time there that I thought he said exactly the same lap. Maybe he did. Glen 46 crosses the line there and puts his car to 9th in the order. He moves up a couple of positions with that. So 9th place so far from Glen. And I've just seen for the first time 2 new names as well. Jason Absmer has joined us. He was in the last round as well. And Dennis. Now, Dennis has not got a surname as far as I can see. I'm wondering whether that's Dennis Ashenko, because I know Ashenko's joined us in the past. But just registered as Dennis in all capitals here so far. So I'm not quite sure which Dennis that is. But currently, Dennis is still sitting in the pits.
Yes, that's the same one. It's actually Dennis Ashenko.
Alright, so that would be Dennis Ashenko joining us today. Clinton Falzen now fastest again in the first sector. Of course, he's been about 3/10 up on his lap so far in non-official practice, but now trying to set it in official practice as well. And he's not got the second sector hooked together as well as he could have done. But Brandon Tabone absolutely has. Tabone flying in the final sector here. I said there was more that he had to give. He's going about a second up on his lap, and that could be second, I think, for Tabone. Yeah, goes second. So Brandon Tabone 1:08.224 with the fastest second sector time of anyone so far. Goes second in the order, just behind Clinton Falzen and ahead of Alessandro Grech, who is currently in that 3rd place grid slot. Quick first sector for Terence Grech as well. Terence, twitch, and gets over the curb. That's going to cost him a little bit of time there. I'm not sure quite how sensitive the game is there to invalidating laps, because I've seen laps being invalidated because of drivers going off there before, but I'm not sure whether you have to reach the grass or not. As Tabone again goes quickest in the second sector, so Tabone, not satisfied with that lap, is going quicker again, and this could be on for pole here, or provisional practice first. I suppose you can't really call it pole when it's not qualifying. Around the final corner he goes, although Falzen is responding. Falzen is going pretty quickly on this lap too. Tabone, does he put it to the top? Not quite. He's less than, wow, he put it 0.015 off Falzen, but Falzen is responding, but he doesn't go faster. He would have done, but that's an invalidated lap. So Falzen did just put the car below 108. He was in the 107s, but it was an invalid lap. So Falzen did not go faster with that lap, and he may have gained the time by running off the road somewhere. We now have less than 5 minutes remaining in this official practice session. 4.5 minutes to go. Alessandro Grech just had a pretty torrid second sector there. Ran over the inside curb at the chicane pretty hard, and then managed to very nearly, or very only just avoid a slow-moving car that was right on the racing line on the inside of the corner there. So Greg definitely not putting in that lap. Everything was making sure of it. Whoa! Quick lap from Sandro Zara there, a 1:08.743. Now Zara is one driver who possibly.
Yeah. It seems that he was mentioning Jamie Gray that was not around. They're joining now. It seems they got messed up with the times with this GMT +2 time, so that's why they are late. So Jamie is joining. We don't know if his teammate Matt will manage to do it.
Well, that'll be a 10-second penalty, won't it, for missing the driver briefing? So Jamie Gray, our first driver in trouble this race Thursday.
And there's
which is
Dennis
a shame,
as well.
but
Dennis as well, because he was not part of the briefing.
Yeah, and Denis Ashenko as well. But and just as I say that, I was just about to say that Ashenko wasn't on the server, but he's just loaded in again. So Ashenko is back, and he'll be another driver with a 10-second penalty added to this first race time, along with Jamie Gray for missing the driver briefing. Hopefully they know we're doing a pit stop, actually, because that's a new addition to these casual races. And Ashenko, of course, did the Praga R1 race where they didn't have to make a pit stop. So hopefully he knows that that they're going to have to do that today. But well, we'll have to assume that they do. Quick lap from Jason Absmeyer as well, up to third position. Now, what I was saying about Sandro Zara was that Zara is one driver who we don't usually see in and around the podium positions. So maybe just really liking this car or this track or both, or maybe just put in a lot of effort and done a lot of practice. But whatever the case, a quick lap so far from Zara and also from Jason Absmeyer. Now Absmeyer is one driver with a lot of reputation over in South Africa. He's done a lot of sim racing in the African GT Championship. As well as, I believe he appeared on a TV show at one point, racing against celebrities, and I believe he won that. So Jason Absmeyer, actually quite a known name within racing in South Africa, and well, he's on the grid today as Terence Grech now demotes him back to fourth position. Grech goes up to third, and again Tabone sets a faster second sector time. So Brandon Tabone going even quicker now in the second sector. His first sector wasn't quite there though, but he's made up a lot of time in the final sector. He's going to be setting pretty much exactly the same lap as before on this lap. It's only just off. It is, however, a fastest third sector time of anyone as well. So fastest second and third sectors. It was just because he was a couple of tenths down in the first sector that he lost that lap. So if Tabone can hook together the first sector, he will be pretty unstoppable on that lap. However, we have seen Falzen going faster than his personal best as well. Falzen currently on a 1:08.058, but Falzen was quicker in non-official practice. I don't believe they're going to get a chance to go quicker in this session though, because our practice timer is now at almost 0. So not many drivers are going to get more chances to set laps. But Falzen now does improve his lap. It's a 1:08.043. He improved it by just over 100 of a second there, nearer to 200 of a second. But really, that's absolutely not much at all. It was 0.015 he improved his lap by there, with the fastest third sector time of anyone. But still not as fast as he's done in practice by any means. And not really that much faster than Brandon Tabone, so it's close up the front. And Terence Grech isn't really that far behind them either, so still a couple of drivers in contention here. And well, Falzen and Tabone still separated by less than half a tenth of a second, so it's very close indeed. But now the timer has ticked to 0. The drivers are not going to get more chances to set laps. Falzen, Tabone and Grech are all in the pit, so that's the end of this session. And Absmeyer is on an out lap, so that is also the end of his session. He's not going to get another chance. But it doesn't really matter, seeing as this is only practice. And of course, practice does not decide the actual grid order. Now, interestingly, Falzen is back on track. Now, I don't think that's allowed, seeing as the time has ticked to 0. So I can imagine the light at the end of the pit lane had turned red. So I'm a little bit surprised that Falzen's on track now. But whatever the case, that's the end of this session. The checkered flag is showing at the end of the pits, and the order is Falzen, Tabone, Grech, Absmeyer, Grech. By Grech, it's Terence 3rd and Alessandro 5th. Zara, Saldukas, Gandor, Barbara, Aguis, Streamer, Golin, Samut, Bachea, and those are the drivers who set laps. And non-lap setting were Jamie Gray and Denis Ashenko. Although Ashenko is exiting the pits now, even though he probably shouldn't be. However, I've just realised the problem. There actually is no light at the end of the pit lane. So the drivers, if they're not aware of the session time through some other way, they're not going to spot the light at the end of the pits turning red. And as a result, a couple of drivers going back out onto the track when they shouldn't have done there. But I don't think that's going to result in any sort of penalty like it would in reality. So, 30 seconds down till the qualifying session. Go ahead.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's like 30 seconds, and we're gonna go for a qualifying session. It's almost a full grid. We have 16 drivers today here on the grid, so I think it's gonna be a fun race. Looking forward to this qualifying session because I think we're gonna have some interesting times, which will be quite close to each other.
That's a very decent number there. 16 drivers in at the minute, and that's good to very good to see. Of course, I think our previous record was 18 or 17. It was around there, so we've almost reached our previous record here at Sim Racing Malta. So now the drivers go out onto the track at the start of qualifying, and I believe it's going to be Omar Barbara who will set our first lap. Of course, he was out first in practice as well, and then spun it on the 8th lap, but he's out first in qualifying, so we'll see if he can go any better this time and make it around to the grid before anyone else can. We have a 30-minute qualifying session here, 30. So, well, I'd say plenty of time, but it does go past very, very quickly. You just have to make sure that you get your lap done and don't get too tired about it, because a lot of drivers' laps tend to drop off towards the middle of the 30-minute qualifying sessions, I've noticed. But at first, of course, it's all about putting down a buffer and just making sure you put yourself ahead of the drivers who don't set laps at all. And indeed, Omar Barbara is going to be our first driver to start a hot lap here. So Omar Barbara starts the lap, and he's going to show us the track for this first time around. So here's turn 1. It's downhill and pretty banked as well. You can really run over the curb on the exit there. And now we head up through the iconic S's. This is what people think of when they think of Long Beach, usually. Not Long Beach, Watkins Glen. Where do I think we are? Here's turn 4, the latest part of the S's, before we head down into the inner loop chicane. It's a 4-way chicane, a proper bus stop. And difficult not to go over the inside of the fourth curb there. Here's the outer loop. It's like a parabolica, really. That's what it'd be called if it was in Europe. But we're not using the longer chute today. We're using the short chute. Straight down towards the penultimate corner, which is just coming up now to the left. And then the final corner will follow that to the right. It's a very, very short circuit here, as the car spins into the barrier in front of Barbara, and he was, oh dear, he was caught out by that. He was distracted a bit, and he went into the outside wall, which spat him across the track into the inside retainer, and that was a big hit for Omar Barbara. So that first lap has been thrown away there, and the driver who had the glory of setting the first lap in the session was Brandon Tabone, 1:08.670. That's about 6/10 slower than he did in official practice, so he can go quicker than that, and I'm sure he will. And now Clinton Falzen puts in a stormer. It's a 1:07.771, fastest so far in all 3 sectors, unsurprisingly, seeing as it's so early in the session. But Falzen puts in the first properly flying lap of under 1 minute and 8 seconds. 1 minute and 8 seconds rather. to put his car to the top of the order. And now watch Tabone, because Tabone is going very quickly in the second sector. He's in the third sector now, but he set a quicker second sector, quicker than Falzen's. Through the final corner he goes. How much time can he gain out of here? It's going to be on for pole. It's as he crosses the line, it's second over. Well, it's over a tenth of a second off, but it's within the 1:07, so a good lap there. Briefly, we saw Terence Grech going up into second, but Grech now demoted to third position. And well, it looks like it's going to be between Falzen and Tabone today. They're the two drivers I've seen putting in laps under 1:08. So Falzen and Tabone in the 1:07s so far. Very good opening attempt. Jason Absmeyer trying to improve his lap in the final sector. He could be on for third position here. He's currently fourth, so still on the second row of the grid, but hoping to move himself further up. He's getting a little bit of a slipstream from that car ahead, and as he crosses the line, it is indeed third. So Absmeyer goes up into third position with a 1:08.316. Over half a second off Falzen, but not as much off Tabone in second, of course. Still time to be gained for all of these guys. Glen 46 appears to be improving his time a bit. He's in the final sector at the minute, currently in 9th position. But he's our first driver not to have put in a time under 1:10. So he'll certainly want to take that off his record, and it looks as if he might hit. As he crosses the line, he gets a good run off the final corner, and indeed it's under 1:10, but doesn't actually improve his position, even though he does his time. Daniel Streamer is improving. He's currently in 5th position, but quite a long way behind Terence Grech, so I don't think he's going to improve his position here. He improves his lap, but not his position, as I thought. And now Sandro Zara puts his car up into 4th position, into 6th position rather, directly behind him on the road. Tell you what, Terence Grech already improving his lap by 0.2 of a second, and he's only in the first sector. So Grech has a metaphorical rifle pointed at Absmeyer here, and his target is locked. Here he comes through the outer section, the outer loop, as we head past the short chute. Again, the time is coming down. It's a fast second sector as well, but Absmeyer is responding with an even faster first sector. There's a real battle going on for third here, as Alessandro Grech puts his car into 5th position. Terence Grech now exits the final corner. What's the lap here? Does it put him to third? It does. Terence Grech goes up into third position with a 1:08.217, and Falzen goes faster. Falzen with a 1:07.743 goes even faster than his personal best and moves even further away from Brun and Tabone in second. The gap to the lead is 0.170 here between Falzen and Tabone. Can Tabone respond to that? I think he can, but whether he will is a different matter. Ooh, there was a spinner there off to the side of the bus stop chicane. That's not too bad, seeing as they can get it back to the pits instantly and then just start the car again. But still, if it's cost someone a lap, then that's always frustrating. Jamal Gandor is on a quick lap so far. His personal best, it looks to be, and he could move himself up like 2 positions here. We'll see what he does. He's in 8th at the minute, and as he crosses the line, he goes to 6th. So Jamal Gandor moves himself up into 6th position with that lap. So the time's still changing here. And Justina Salducas now. Oh, he's tapped the wall on the exit final corner, but he's still going to be up on his lap. And he moves up 1 position to 9th. However, if he hadn't tapped the wall there, he would have gone... Well, I don't think he would have gained another position, but he would have gained another 3 or 4 tenths there. Actually, he could have passed Daniel Streamer for 8th. It all depends on how good of a run he would have got out to the final corner. But that's irrelevant now because he tapped the wall and lost the lap. But Salducas, well, he still moved ahead of John Aguis, but he'll be wanting more than just that. Talking of John Agris, Agris is going to improve his lap now and moves straight back ahead of Sal Dukas, back into 9th position. So Agris gets his revenge, goes straight back into 9th position there, and then looks if he's going to go back to the pits as Jamie Gray improves his lap into 12th position so far. And it's the top 12 now who have laps under 1 minute 10 out of the 16 drivers we have on the grid. And I still don't think we've had a representative lap from Omar Barbara, because Barbara is currently on a 1:15.805. We expect Barbara to be near the front of the field. Indeed, he's going about 6 seconds up on his lap so far in the second sector. So Barbara to look out for. But look at Brandon Tabone now, really responding to Clinton Falzen. He's fastest of anyone in the second sector. Not quite as quick in the first, and I think he's got a bad exit out of the final corner there relative to his previous laps. It's not even going to be a quicker lap there from Brandon Tabone. It wasn't, but he did go quickest of anyone in the second sector. So Tabone showing he's got more pace than he's given so far, and that's definitely something to look out for. But Tabone currently in second position. Relatively quick first sector time from Terence Grech. It's his personal best so far. About 2/10 off Falzen's first sector time, but Falzen in a league of his own at the minute. Of course, the second sector really doesn't include many corners. It includes the inner chute, the inner part of the circuit, and also the outer loop as well. Oh, very wide over the curb there from Grech. In fact, none of these sectors really include many corners, because there really aren't many corners to choose from. Grech did not go faster with that lap after that mistake at the final corner, at the penultimate corner rather. He was on for a quicker one though. Don't think it would have challenged Tabone, but it would have got closer. Now, Justin Sildukas appears to be improving his lap. He's currently in the same 10th of a second as John Agris for 10th. So can Sildukas move himself up into the top 10 here? No one wants to be on the second page. That always looks bad. But the Lithuanian driver coming around the final corner now, and he is still up on his lap. So Sildukas is going to cross the finish line and move up to 9th position. So jumps 2 places. He's moved ahead of Streamer and Agris. So Sildukas up 2 places with that lap. And on to the first page, as I said. Now I see a lot of laps on the buffer, the delta time of 0.0. So a lot of laps could sway either way. I think the most convincing of these is Omar Barbara's at the minute, as he chases 5th position. He's currently 0.3 of a second up as he goes around the final corner, keeps it out of the wall. That's good to see. And as he crosses the line, this could be on for 4th. Yeah, 4th place, ahead of Jason Absmeyer. So Omar Barbara up into 4th position. It looked initially like he'd only get 5th, but pulled something out of the bag in that final sector there. It was a quick final sector from Omar Barbara, but Absmeyer's responding, and Absmeyer now goes up to 3rd, so moves ahead of Terence Grech as well. In fact, he's less than 0.3 of a second off the leader, so maybe we're going to have a 3 or 4-way scrap for pole position here. Absmeyer pulls some pace out of a hat, really, and goes up into 3rd position. Not quite in the 107s, it was a 108.013. We now have less than 20 minutes remaining in this race, less than 18 in fact. We're approaching 70 minutes remaining. As Sandro Zara looks threatening. Zara could be on for 6th here, he's 8th at the minute, chasing 7th, but if he gets a good exit, this could be on for 6th. Crosses the finish line, and it's 7th. Only just behind 6th place, so moves ahead of Jamal Gandor. Gandor currently in the pits, so not going to be improving any time just yet, as John Aguis now moves up into 9th position, demoting Justinas Saldukas and Daniel Streamer there. Meanwhile, about a second up on his best lap so far is Denis Ishenko. Now that's still not going to put him any higher than last position, because he hasn't put in a lap that looks properly representative yet. Maybe he just hasn't got the practice in yet, but he's over a second up on his lap so far. And as he crosses the line, this is going to be a big improvement for Ishenko, and it is. But still, almost a second off the car ahead of him. On quick lap watch, Glen 46 is improving his lap. He's in the 3rd sector at the minute, about to come around the final corner. It's all about the exit. Well, he gained a lot of pace mid corner there, but lost a bit on the exit. He's going to, yeah, that's not any quicker. He was about 100th of a second off his best lap so far. Although Daniel Streamer is trying to make up for it. But look at Terence Grech. Grech's been right on the buffer between his previous best lap and this one. And it's a quick 2nd sector, so Grech definitely on it. Now, can he pull out a miracle in the final corner and move ahead of Jason Absmeyer? I don't believe he can. He didn't, so Terence Grech is going to remain 4th for now. Less than half a tenth of a second off his previous lap, so still pretty consistent hot laps coming in from Terence Grech there. Sandro Zara in the final sector too. Remember that Zara very nearly passed Alessandro Grech in the order just now, so possibly taking 2 swipes at the tree. Out to the final corner he goes. How much of an improvement is this going to be? It does not quite move himself ahead of Alessandro Grech, but he's off him by 5 thousandths of a second. So if you rounded that up, that would be 1/100th of a second there between Grech and Zara. That's pretty much nothing. So Grech and Zara absolutely equal so far, pretty much. And that's for 6th and 7th position. Currently, Grech just edging it. Now the top driver improving his lap in the session so far is Jamie Samut in 14th position. Of course, there are no real points in this series, but of course from the, well, because it's not a series, it's a one-off event. But of course, between these 2 races, there are going to be points awarded, which go towards a mini table, which determine who wins the event overall. Now into the final sector goes Jamie Samut. He's about 3 tenths up actually, so this is a good lap so far from Samut. And he might move himself ahead of the other Jamie here, Jamie Gray. Oh, he clouts the wall, so maybe not. He's losing time as he goes down the straight, and unsurprisingly so. And he doesn't move ahead of Gray in the end. It's still very close. Less than half a tenth of a second off him, but, well, with that clout of the barrier, he threw away a chance of moving up into 13th position on the grid there. There's still plenty of time to go. We're just under half of the way through the session, or just over halfway through the session now. We have 13 minutes remaining out of the 30 that we started with. Hello to everyone joining us on both YouTube and Facebook. We're live on the Sim Racing Malta YouTube channel as well as the Sim Racing Malta Facebook channel. Jamal Gandor saying, wow, these guys are fast. Indeed, they some of these guys at the front of the order absolutely are. To get 107s at Watkins Glen, that's pretty impressive. Steve Kutajar says, at work watching this. Well, great to see that people are watching this all over the place and taking their own time to tune in. That's what we like to hear. And I'm sure it'll be absolutely worth it today. No, purple middle sector there from Brandon Tabone. So Tabone is on it. His first sector wasn't quite there. Yeah. I think one of the stewards accidentally turned his microphone on there, but Brandon Tabone, oh, he was on a quicker lap, but he clouts the wall coming out of the final corner there. So Tabone sets the fastest middle sector of anyone, but throws it away in the third sector. This is the stage of the qualifying session where drivers do start to make mistakes. They start to get a bit tired, and then sometimes what you see a driver doing is going back in the pits to have a little rest, and then going out at the end of the qualifying session for one last shot at it. Maybe 2 more laps. And I can imagine that's what a lot of these guys are going to be doing, because from 2nd down to 5th, everyone's in the pits. Although Clinton Falzen's still trying to improve his lap up front. Of course, when Hani El Sabdi races, it's become quite associated with him that he'll set a brilliantly quick lap in the first 10 minutes of the session, and then just sit in the pits for the rest of the day. He doesn't need to go out until the race, and then he tends to take pole anyway. But with a field this close, they can't be taking any chances. Of course, all it takes is for one lap to come together for another of the drivers, and then you've lost that pole position if that is the case. So, looking at the order so far, it's Falzen leading from Tabone, Absmeyer, Grech, Barbara, Grech. So, Terence Grech is 4th, Alessandro Grech is 6th. And it's Zara, Gandor, Agris, Streamer, Saldukaz, Golin, Gray, Samut, Machea, and Ashenko. Those are the 16 drivers in their qualifying order so far in this session. Although John Agris appears eager to improve his position, as he's less than 1/10 of a second off Jamal Gandor ahead of him, and he's set a quick first sector. His second sector hasn't quite been there, but if he can salvage something in the third sector, maybe he can still move up a position here. John Agri is one of our Maltese drivers. We have several Maltese drivers on the grid today. We have Falzen, Tabone, the 2 Gress, Barbara, Zara, Agris, as I said, Samut, and Machea. Now, I'm not sure about Golin, Gray, or Streamer, because their flags aren't showing. They're just registered with the Assetto Corsa icon, but still a very Maltese represented championship and event, this one. Although still an international one, as we have drivers from South Africa, from Lithuania, from Lebanon, from Russia with Denis Shashenko. It's always good to see drivers coming in from all over the place. Incidentally, John Agri's lap was no improvement, and he's actually just been demoted by Justin Saldukaz. So Saldukaz has suddenly found some pace, actually, because he's going quicker than his lap again by about 1/10 of a second. In fact, Saldukaz, who was in the bottom half of the grid, on the second page rather, only a couple of laps ago, in fact only last lap, is now trying to improve his lap again, possibly even past 6th place, but he's not quite as quick in the second sector as he needs to be there. A 21.6 in the second sector is about half a second off what we've seen sometimes. Big slide through the final corner, and that's going to mess up not just this lap, but his next one as well. So Saldukaz out of this one, I'm afraid. In fact, it was about a second off that pace there. Not quite, but very nearly a second off on that lap after a number of mistakes in the second and third sectors. But his first sector was quick. So still more to give from Justinus Saldukaz. As we have 7 minutes now remaining in this qualifying session before we'll head to the first of our 2 20-lap races. Of course, there's going to be a mandatory pit stop between laps 13 and 10, minimum of 1 litre added fuel, but you have to stop. Of course, one strategy decision that the drivers might take is, do I start the race on a very small tank of fuel and then refuel, gaining time at the start and therefore track position, or do I put in enough fuel to just put in 1 litre in the pits and then go to the end? If I was them, I'd go for the latter, because you do lose quite a lot of time through heavy refueling. I found that in other series, but of course it's up to the drivers here. And the Audi R8 does refuel relatively quickly compared to some other cars. Of course, this is the Audi R8 LMS, designed to be a GT3 car. It's not the newer version Audi R8 GT3, as far as I know, but still a well-renowned car. I believe it is the newer version, actually. So not the Audi R8 LMS, but the proper sort of Audi R8 GT3 we're racing here. The kind that you see racing in Blancpain and in the ADOC GT Masters. Fantastic car, absolutely beautiful, beautiful chassis, and well, it's technically registered as the Audi R8 LMS, so I'll call it that for now. Whenever I think of the Audi R8 LMS, I think of the older version, the one with the kind of sleeker front and rear, the one that's a bit less like a GT3 car, but that's slightly older than these. This is the new Audi R8 LMS, which has just being raced recently. One of the most successful cars to race in Blancpain ever already, though. Very, very quick car. Great with balance as well. The drivers like where the engine's placed. They like where all of the components are placed. And well, if you hear interviews from drivers who race this car, in reality, it is a beast to drive. And definitely a lot of teams' first choice when they go to a GT3 championship. Now, Brandon Tabone appears to be on a quick one here. He's coming out of the final corner. His first and second sectors weren't quite there. In fact, his third sector wasn't even his personal best either. But by stringing together a lap of non-personal bests, he's managed to set a personal best. It's still not much closer to Falzen. He's still 0.117 off. It's a 107.860 from Tabone. It's a quick lap, but he needs to string together something very special here if he's going to beat Clinton Falzen. They're still close, remember. Remember, the top 3 drivers still separated by just less than 0.3 of a second. And remember that the top 4 are separated by less than half a second. It could be any of these guys that clinches pole position here. But not much time left to do it now. We have 3.5 minutes left in this session. And it's Falzen from Tabone, Absmeyer, Grech, Barbara, Grech, Saldukas, Zara, Gandor, Agris, Streamer, Golin, Samut, Macher, Gray, and Ashenko. Those are the 16 drivers we still have here. And currently the top 15 of those within the 110s, so below 110 that is. Now, are we setting up for a final dash to the flag? We have second down to 7th still in the pit, and Tabone on an outlap here. I expect we're about to get a proper shootout at the end of this qualifying session. This is where it truly starts to get interesting. So let's watch Tabone on this lap.
That's actually the last driver that had to join, and it seems he joins the server now just in time to manage to do possibly a qualifying lap. Unfortunately, they messed up with the times. So yes, Matt Titley just joined the server, so actually we're the full grid today.
Alright, yeah, Matt Titley. So Matt Titley is our 17th driver in the server, so that's a decently sized grid, but he has missed the majority of qualifying, and I don't know if he'll make it out in time to set a lap here. But still watching Brandon Tabone. It was a quick first sector, although he's not quite on the delta in the second sector here. In fact, it's about a tenth of a second down. So he needs to string together something in the third sector or think about setting up for this last lap. He's going to spin it into the barrier. In fact, that's the worst thing he could have done at this point in time because, well, actually, if he goes back to the pits now and then immediately exits, he might still get around in time to start another qualifying session. He needs to get on to that lap before the timer ticks to 0. But Tabone, he wasn't on a quicker lap there, but he did want to set up for another lap because he could have got 2 in if he had enough fuel for it, just about. But needs to get out now because otherwise he's not going to get another chance. So does Tabone get out of the pits? He's not going to. That's it for Brandon Tabone. So Tabone and Absmer still in the pits there. They've blown their chance. And I think that's a shame for Tabone because he could definitely have gone faster, I'm sure. And that pretty much seals pole position now for Clinton Falzen. So Clinton Falzen takes pole position here. I don't think there's anyone else who's going to surprise us in these late stages. But Clinton Falzen on pole position here at Watkins Glen. Just watching the others now as they put in their last couple of laps. I don't even know if anyone's going to go quicker here, although the timer still hasn't ticked quite to 0 yet, so drivers can start new laps. It's just the drivers in the pits who can't because they do not have enough time to make it out onto the track and then set more laps. So that includes Tabone, Absmeyer, Ducas, Zara and Agris at the minute, as well as Samut and Gray. Terence Grech, meanwhile, has just started his last lap. So Terence Grech in 4th position. Actually could still be a contender here. I don't think for the pole position, but he could get close. Maybe go for 3rd here on Jason Absmeyer. Maybe even 2nd on Brandon Tabone if he's really quick, but that's unlikely. And I think that's pretty much the session over. Grech's first sector wasn't quite there. I'm going to keep watching the lap just in case. But I think that's pretty much it. Everyone on the second page has put in their laps and won't get another chance. We're just waiting now for the 2 Grechs. In fact, Alessandro might be going... Well, no, that's an out lap for Alessandro, so he's not going to be doing anything else. And Terence Grech is about 4 tenths down on his lap. So that's about it then. Clinton Falzen takes pole position here at Watkins Glen, followed by Brandon Tabone, Jason Absmeyer, Terence Grech, Omar Barbara, Alessandro Grech, Justina Salducas, Sandro Zara, Jamal Gandor, John Agris, Daniel Streamer, Golin 46, Jamie Samut, Michael Merchea, Jamie Gray, and Denis Ishenko line up the 16 drivers who set laps, and not setting a lap was Matt Titley, the 17th driver, who will have to start the race right at the back after not making it in time to set a lap in qualifying.
So we're a couple of minutes away from the start of the race. As you all said, Matt Titley will be starting at the back of the grid. Unfortunately, they did a small mess up with the time with this GMT Plus 2. Some people, I think, they're not getting used to it as yet. But sure, I think we're going to see a very interesting race, especially when you see it's like the top 15 drivers are within 2 seconds. So definitely we're going to have some batches which will be running. So we'll be starting in less than 3 minutes race. We'll be going for a very brief commercial break and we'll be back soon.
Gigabit Internet issa f'Malta. Gawdi mill-Giga Power biss mal-Malita Flexi.
So we're like 1 minute 5 seconds away from the start of the race. Race of today, we're gonna have actually 2 races of 25 laps each with a reverse grid on the second race. All drivers have a mandatory pit stop between the 10th and the 13th lap. Those missing that will be automatically disqualified, and the minimum they can do is take on 1 liter of fuel. As Joshua said also earlier, it's like depending on their strategies, what they're gonna do, if they're like going with less liters on the start onto the 10th lap and get more fuel there, or else they go with almost a full tank to run the race and just get on board a liter on the pit stop. We're 20 seconds away from this start. On to you, Joshua, now.
So going through the grid again, it's Falzon from Tabone, Absmeyer, Grech, Barbara, Grech, Saldukas, Zara, Gandor, Agwiz, Dreamer, Golan, Samut, Machea, Gray, Ashenko, and Titley, who make up this grid. And the lights are going to extinguish now, and away we go. So the race has begun, and who gets a good start? It's not Clinton Falzon, it's going to be Brandon Tabone to the outside, but can he hold on? He does do so, and he makes the corner. So Brandon Tabone takes the lead at the start of this race with a great start contact line between Abspire and, was that Barbara? I think it might have been, but they both made it through there. Oh, into the wall hard goes Agwiz. Does he collect anyone? No, but he goes into the wall again, and Agwiz might be our first time, and that's a big crash for Agwiz.
Barbara and Alessandro Grech.
Golan's in the wall as well, and I think we've had an incident between Barbara and Grech. I think that was the one at the very start of this race. But a couple of incidents already, and that's a shame. But it's Brandon Tabone leading from Clinton Falzon, and then it's Terence Grech in 3rd position. So Grech, no, it isn't. Yes, it is. So Terence Grech up into 3rd place at the start here, and I'll update you further on the order as we cross the start-finish line. It's hard to tell. I have already seen that we've lost John Agwiz and Golan 46. So those are our first 2 retirements from this race after the incident at the start. Now I can read out the proper order. It's going to be Brandon Tabone from Clinton Falzon, Terence Grech, Jason Absmeyer, Alessandro Grech, Omar Barbara, Justina Saldukas, Jamal Gandor, Daniel Streamer, Sandro Zara, Michael Machea, Jamie Gray, Jamie Samut, and Matt Titley, as well as Denis Yashenko, who visited the pit lane there, but is still technically in this race, but out of this race are Agwiz and Golan. So looking further up the field, it's still Tabone leading from Falzon as the field streams through the chicane. Remember that this field will not become stagnant because we will have a pit stop from lap 13 to lap 10, and this is a 25 lap race. I saw on the page that it would be a 20 lap race, but it's a 25 lap race. The pit will open on lap 10 and it will close on lap 13. And now Falzon is getting very close to Tabone. Has a look to the outside there of both the penultimate corner and the final corner. Now it's all about getting the slipstream down the start finish straight. These cars don't really slipstream well enough to get a proper run on the straight. You need to get a good exit to the corner before, but Falzon definitely got closer there as the field streams through again for the 2nd time. And I think there was a change on that lap between Samut and Streamer for the 12th position. And now the leaders are back at it again. Falzon is looking every way. In fact, he's going to the inside now. Falzon goes to the inside of Tabone for the lead of the race as we head into the chicane. Does he get it? No! Tabone shuts the door, but he's going to run wide, and they're still side by side on the exit. They're also side by side for 3rd, but I'll come to that in a bit. It's Tabone on the inside, followed by Falzon, who sweeps around the outside and gets a better run out to the corner. But still, Tabone's there. This is great racing. And Clinton Falzon gets the lead of the race. What can Tabone do about it? He's not going to go to the inside there. And now we have had a change for third as Jason Absmeyer is in third, followed by Alessandro Grech. They both got past Terence Grech. So Terence Grech loses 3 places. No, does he? Well, I'm going to tell as we cross the line. I think he's lost a 3rd place in all of that. Well, actually, it's Absmeyer 3rd, followed by Grech, Saldukas, Gandor, and Terence Grech. So indeed, Terence Grech lost about 4 positions on that lap there.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate accident, so we'll be reviewing this after the race.
Oh, so there was contact. Well, I didn't see it, but I'll go back on the stream to have a look at that in a little bit. But for now, what a battle we just saw for the lead of the race there between Falzon and Tabone, who went side by side several times there through the middle portion of the lap. Oh, and my word, it looks as if Grech's incident was actually going down into turn 1, possibly, as he got too close to the back of Falzon on that last lap. Had to back off to avoid running into the back of him. Went very wide and just started losing positions due to the loss of momentum. So a mistake from Terence Grech. And I don't think there was any contact between anyone there, but Grech has lost those positions nonetheless. And after that lap, well, still close for 4th position between Grech and Saldukas. Saldukas has made up 4 positions, and he's going for a 5th on the inside of Grech. And Saldukas still side by side with him as we head up the hill. Gets a good exit, and he's going to be on the inside for turn 4. He gets the position. So Saldukas gains a 5th position. He's up into 4th. And Grech is coming back at him on the inside here. Alessandro gets him back as they swap positions again, and Saldukas is running wide. He's going to go over the grass, and through goes Gandor. Saldukas loses out, so he goes for 1 position and loses 2 as Grech comes through as well. Terence Grech, that is. So Saldukas was in 5th, went for 4th, now he's in 7th. So a shame for Saldukas. I see a lot of Lithuanian support for him in the YouTube chat, but Saldukas losing 2 places out of that, and now Terence Grech runs slightly wide again there. But let's see what the gaps are as they cross the line this time around. The gap to the lead is 1.8 seconds, so Falzon is extending his lead from Tabone. Then Absmeyer is about 1 second behind. There's actually now a car between Tabone and Absmeyer as someone exits the pits there. I think that's Jamie Samut, who might have had an incident on that last lap. So Jamie Samut in 15th position is on track just around these guys. He's our last remaining driver in this race. Of course, we saw a pit stop earlier from Jamie Samut. He's now being lapped as well. And then the last driver on the lead lap is Matt Titley, who missed qualifying. And I think we still have that close chain there from 5th all the way back to pretty much 9th position here. Gandor and Grech still close. Grech and Saldukas still close. In fact, Saldukas already looking racy again. So Saldukas feels like he has more pace than this. Maybe he just has a lot more race pace than qualifying pace, because he's certainly challenging for positions a lot higher than he was in qualifying here. As they cross the line this time, already the gap to the lead is out to over 2 seconds, so Falzon is extending his lead. But remember, the pit stages start in just 4 laps, so if Tabone does something clever and can find his way ahead of Falzon, then it could all change, of course, and Falzon will have to make that overtake again. Watch 5th place, Terence Grech is getting a good run on Jamal Gandor, and Justinas Saldukas is right with them. In fact, Saldukas might end up being the biggest winner of this. Whoa, they're almost 3 wide. Saldukas trying to find the gap on the inside, and Gandor just about keeps that, as Saldukas is going to be forced wide again. It's a replay of last lap, and through comes Sandro Zara. Zara's up in the air. What's happened to Zara? Well, something happened, and Zara got spat out over the grass, and he spun the car around. and now he gets it going again, but he'll have lost several places. And I didn't quite see what happened there. I just saw that he went for it, and then suddenly he was spat up in the air. He just sort of got over the grass, and it was on the transition between the grass and the tarmac that the car got flicked up.
Yeah, actually, he just spun so on his own, so there was no incident there.
Well, definitely an unfortunate one. He's now right on the back of Jamie Gray there. But as they cross the line at the end of that lap, still Gandor fifth, followed by Terence Gregg, Saldukas, Barbara, Machaika, and Machaya rather, and off has gone Sandro Zara again, clouting the inside wall at the final corner. So Zara may be biting too much out of his tyres there. Well, often the flat spots can just make you spin again. Meanwhile, the gap for the lead is coming out by about a second per lap here, as Falzon brings the gap out to over 3 seconds now from Tabone. It was just over 2 seconds last lap, so Tabone, well, dropping back a bit from our leader Falzon at the minute. But still, the story is about that three-way battle for 5th position between Gandor, Grech, and Saldukas. Almost turned into a 4-way battle, but Zara spun away his hopes, I'm afraid. But Barbara's right with them now, actually, so maybe Barbara can get involved yet. Fastest third sector time of anyone so far in this race from Justin Saldukas. He certainly seems to be a lot quicker than he was in qualifying relative to his opponents. Not that he was slow in qualifying, but he's certainly gained a lot of pace here. And he's right with Jamal Gandor in front of him. Not quite close enough to attack here down into the bus stop chicane though. And as they head through, well, that's the first lap in about 3 that Saldukas hasn't been forced wide at the chicane. He'll certainly feel relieved to have been able to take the normal line here. Remember, the pit window opens in 2 laps, so the pit window is opening very shortly. Less than 2 laps, rather. In fact, it's opening in 1 lap, so as Falzon crosses the line now, it's going to open for next lap. And then the strategy can really come into play. Now, the closest gap there, I think, is between Grech and Saldukas. In fact, Saldukas was going slightly defensive from Grech, trying to break his toe. He wasn't trying to attack his foot or anything like that. I mean, he was trying to break the slipstream as they were going down the as they was going down the start-finish straight by pulling over to the right-hand side of the circuit to avoid the car behind using as a wind block. And now Grech goes to the outside, but that's not the ideal line through the bus stop. I believe there may have been a move on that last lap in the bottom part of the top 10, but I didn't quite see it. Now, what can Grech do? He certainly appears to have got a much better run there as we head down towards the penultimate corner in the twin bush Audi livery. Oh, and ahead of him there's a move. Is that one for position, or it's not? That's Grech trying to get past a back marker. As into the pits comes Jamal Gandor, and I think, well, Grech and Gandor and Saldukas are both in. Now, I thought that was a lap early because, well, that was only on lap 9, but it was the start of lap 10, so is that within the pit window or not? Whatever the case, we've lost 2 more drivers, I'm afraid. Ashenko and Samut are both out, so we now have 13 drivers remaining in this race. And 2 of them have just pitted earlier than I thought was allowed. Seeing as that was the end of lap 9 that they pitted there, rather than the end of lap 10, and the pit window opens on lap 10. But I think it starts, it might be that it starts when the leader starts lap 10. Or as they go on to lap 10 might count. I'm a little bit confused by that, but whatever the case, 2 people have pitted already, Saldukas and Gandor. And now the gap for the lead, well, it's nothing because Falzen has pitted. So Falzen chose that lap there to bring his car into the pits, as have Greg and Barbara, and Machaya as well. Machaya is also in the pits here. I believe Sandro Zara also pitted on that last lap. So this is the pit stage that matters. It's all going to be about where Brandon Tabone comes out in relation to Clinton Falzen. Falzen has been relatively lucky here. He's found himself some clean road just ahead of... no, it was just ahead of Absmeyer as he came into the pits, but he's just ahead of another car going down into the bus stop there. But I think that was... no, I'm not quite sure, but whatever the case, Brandon Tabone in the pits now, so let's see where he comes out in relation to Clinton Falzen. Tabone pits, Absmeyer also pits from second, as they'd have to do on this lap. So Tabone and Absmeyer in the pits, and through goes Falzen. So Falzen leading this race even more comfortably, I think, and Absmeyer is very close to Tabone on the exit of the corner there. But Falzen leads this race now by a more comfortable gap than I thought he had done before. And Absmeyer has really gained a lot of time on Tabone. In fact, he's attacking him as they go up through the sweepers. This is for second position. And Jason Absmeyer gets the slingshot on the exit. Does he pull alongside Tabone? Yes, he does. He's going to be on the outside line, though. And that's pretty much an impossible line to overtake on. And as they go through the bus stop, he's going to have to back out of it. He does, and he runs wide and over the curb. But Absmeyer really attacking now for second position. These podium places are not over yet. Jason Absmeyer exits the corner and gets another good slingshot, but not close enough to attack. And now, as we cross the line this time around, I'm going to read out the updated order as they cross it. So, Tabone, or Greg rather, exits the final corner now, or Falzen rather, crosses the line first, 2.1 seconds ahead of Tabone, so the gap did come down. 2.1 seconds is the gap. Then Absmeyer, 2.5 behind the leader. Terence Grech is fourth, followed by Jamal Gandor. Alessandro Grech. So Terence Grech, I believe, pulled that move there on Jamal Gandor, and Alessandro Grech is now ahead of Justinas Saldukas by quite a way there. So Saldukas dropped back a bit. I wonder whether he had a spin during the pit stages. Yeah, he's about 22 seconds behind Greg. I reckon Saldukas had some sort of incident. Then it's Michael Machaya. Sandro Zara is going to cross the line in 9th position, and we've got a slow-moving car. That's Jamie Gray. I'm wondering whether he's just getting out of the leaders there. He is. Still, that looked very slow. But Gray just getting out of where the leaders. So Zara crosses the line in 9th. It's going to be Jamie Gray in 11th, I believe. I don't think Tiffany or Barbara... Well, we've lost Omar Barbara from this race, so Barbara and Daniel Streamer as well are next to retirements. So now only 11 drivers remaining in this race. Oh, and Jamie Gray's had an accident and very nearly takes out Terence Gray at the final corner. Gray now returns, or doesn't go into the pit lane, but Gray spun the car around at the final corner and hit the wall rearwards, and very nearly got collected by Terence Gray as Gray came through. That was a very close one, very scary situation there. Our final driver to cross the line and trigger the timing beam after these pit stages is going to be Matt Titley in 11th position, the driver who missed qualifying, but at this rate we'll get the reverse grid for race 2. It's all about just learning the track at this stage, if Titley didn't get much practice time. Now I tell you what, I'm looking at the wrong thing here, because my order seems to have oh, there we go. Yeah, I just clicked the wrong button, but whatever the case, we're back. And Absmeyer is still very close to Tabone. As we head down the straight, we have 10 laps remaining in this race now. Absmeyer right on the back of Tabone, less than half a second behind him as they triggered the timing beam. Of course, most of these drivers in the race, I reckon, won't have changed tyres in that stop, and they won't have refueled over 1 litre. Of course, you have to refuel 1 litre to show the stewards that you've made a pit stop, a proper pit stop. But I can't imagine many drivers did more simply to save time in the pit stop, because it's such a short race, only 25 minutes. The car can absolutely do that on tyres and fuel, so the drivers don't want to waste too much time through the pit stop there. As a result, it would have been a very short pit stop. And of course, one that's a little bit unnecessary, except for through strategy. So in terms of the strategy, it's put there for the purpose of shaking the race up a bit. Now, what's the gap this lap between Tabone and Absmeyer? They're still very close. And again, it's still, well, it's just over at half a second that time around, but it keeps fluctuating up and down. It's still very tense there between Tabone and Absmeyer for second position. Absmeyer looks as if he could pounce at any point, really. All he needs is the slightest mistakes from Tabone. Another pairing that's close, Gandor and Alessandro Grech for 5th position. That's a pairing that have been close for pretty much this entire race. They've been in that race with Terence Grech, Justinas Sardukas, very briefly, Sandro Zara as well. But that battle seems to have split up a bit. It's just between Gandor and Grech now for 5th position. And Absmeyer, I think, dropped slightly further back from Tabone on that lap. In that sector, rather. So maybe made a little mistake there, did Absmeyer. Quite possibly. And he makes another little mistake as well as he runs slightly wide. But everything's fine. I believe we've lost another driver from this race. Indeed, Jamie Gray, he's been in the pits for a while. So Gray, 7th retirement from this race, leaving us with just 10 drivers here. My word, Matt Titley's on the first page. Indeed, there was a mistake from Jason Absmeyer, because he's now about 1.6 seconds off Brandon Tabone. So he lost almost a second in that lap there. So there was a mistake from Absmeyer that I didn't see. And now that means that our closest battle is the one for 5th between Gandor and Grech. And Grech is catching Gandor. Catching him quite considerably there. His last lap was about 0.4 of a second faster. It was exactly 0.4 of a second faster. So Grech really charging at Gandor here. And might actually go, well, he certainly took a speculative look to the inside of the bus stop. And Gandor's left the door slightly open there. But, of course, Grech not close enough. Alessandro Grech. Not related to Terence Grech. I did ask them about that. They say they're not related. As we see a fastest Sector 3 time of anyone from Clinton Falzen. So even after all of this time in the race, he's still pushing. Just through the final corner comes this battle between Gandor and Grech, and Gandor goes slightly defensive here, heading down into turn 1. Can Grech leave his braking later? He tries to swoop around the outside, and he's still there. In fact, he's still there. Of course, the next corner's not in his favour, but he's passed it before that. Look at that. So a good move from Alessandro Grech to hold on around the outside. I'm not quite sure how he did that. Caught Gandor napping a bit, but Alessandro Grech up into 5th position now. Can Gandor come back at him down into the bus stop? He's going to the inside. He's going to try it. But Grech swoops across and cuts his nose off. And Alessandro Grech keeps 5th position. So Grech has been charging for laps. And now he's got Jamal Gandor for 5th position there. He's passed him cleanly. And that is that done for now. Meanwhile, I think Clinton Falzen made a mistake on that last lap. In fact, his second sector time was 1.5 seconds off. So Clinton Falzen made a mistake, and he's now within 2 seconds of Brandon Tabone behind. Well, he can't afford to do that much more. Of course, the gap's still 1.8 seconds. But if Falzen keeps making errors, I think that's the first one we've seen from him today. But if you can do it once, you can do it again. Then Tabone could possibly take advantage and still win this race yet. Up through the S's go Grech and Gandor, 5th and 6th. The gap was 0.7 of a second. I believe Grech is getting away slightly from Gandor, but he needs to make sure that he doesn't make any errors in the meantime, because that could really throw things off. I believe there was another error there from Jason Absmeyer. He's lost another 2 seconds. In fact, is he moving slowly there? Jason Absmeyer in a bit of trouble. He's being passed by Alessandro Grech, is he? Well, Alessandro Grech's right with him now, so we've got problems for Jason Absmeyer. He lost a lot of time on that lap in both sectors. We've got a real problem here for Jason Absmeyer. I've got no idea what it is. But, well, he's back. No, he's lost another. He's lost over another second in that sector there. His time, well, his times in all 3 sectors have dramatically dropped off. So Jason Absmeyer is in 4th, but only just holding on. His last lap 6 seconds slower than anyone else's, except for Matt Titley's. Well, that's a little bit bizarre. He seems to be back on pace in this first sector here, but over the last lap he lost over a second in every single sector. Maybe just responding to Grech behind him now, but something happened there to Jason Absmeyer. Remember, he was right with Terence Grech until very recently, and now he's 9 seconds behind him, only just ahead of Alessandro Grech. And if Alessandro gets past him, then we'll have the 2 Grechs on track 3rd and 4th, which is going to be a bit confusing, but we've had that before. I remember in the DTM race where we briefly had a battle between the 2 Grechs for the lead of the race. But 3rd and 4th will do, I suppose. And Absmeyer did appear to be back on the pace on that lap. In fact, his lap was quicker than Grech's by just under 0.5 of a second, but still. Well, that was a bit weird. And Jamal Gandor's right with them as well, so we've got a 3-way chain now for for 4th position rather. And that's a bit of a bizarre one, because Absmeyer was a long way ahead and then lost 6 seconds just out of the blue. Must have had some sort of incident in the first sector and then just not got back up to pace or back up to confidence in the 2nd or 3rd. Or maybe there was some sort of technical issue, and hopefully it's not recurring. Of course, that's much more likely to be a hardware issue than an actual car issue, because with car issues they tend to be either terminal or not there. Across the line, the gap is still coming out actually, so Absmeyer again sets a lap faster than Grech. Now, well, whatever the problem was, it seems to have cleared, and Absmeyer's getting away again, but really not getting away very quickly. And one more mistake will let both Grech and Gandor through, I'm sure. Three of them separated by just a second as they crossed the start-finish line that lap, even with Absmeyer's quicker laps recently. So we still do have a 3-way battle going on for 4th position here. Now through the final sector they come. Alessandro runs slightly wide there over the curb. And we're on the penultimate lap of the race. So, less than 2 laps remaining now for our leader, Clinton Falzon. 2nd place is Brandon Tabone, followed by Terence Grech, Jason Absmeyer, Alessandro Grech, Jamal Gandor, Justinas Salducas, Michael Macher, Sandro Zara and Matt Titley. Those are the drivers still remaining in this race. But out of those, the closest still Absmeyer, Grech and Gandor. Gandor dropping back slightly from this chain there. But Grech still sticking with Absmeyer. His last lap still slower. but Absmire's made a slight error there, running wide. Actually, I don't think it was an error. He just takes a slightly different line through that corner. As onto the final lap goes Clinton Falzon. He has a 3.551 second advantage over Tabone in second, but has he made an error there? He certainly darts across to the left-hand side, to the right-hand side of the track, really quite abruptly. I'm going to look at the stream and see what happened. I looked away slightly there. I think, yeah, he just got over the curb slightly and had a bit of a twitch. So he'll be, his heart will be racing a bit there. Of course, we had a situation at the Okayama race where we had a driver almost getting taken out by a backmarker as he went onto the final lap, but everything was fine there. And it is here as well. All Falzon needs to do is hold on to it for half a lap now. Less than half a lap. He has 2 corners to go, so Clinton Falzon rounds the penultimate corner and the final one. He's led it, well, ever since he overtook Brandon Tabone after a great battle in the first and second sectors about 20 laps ago, and Clinton Falzon wins race 1 here. Clinton Falzon wins race 1 with Brandon Tabone in second place. Less than 2 seconds behind after that mistake. 1.950 was the gap, so it wasn't exactly dominated. Tabone stuck with him, but couldn't challenge after he took and then got passed back. Terence Grech is third place, a good third place for Terence Grech. He certainly had to fight for it. Jason Absmire likewise for 4th. Alessandro Grech in 5th, followed by Jamal Gandor in 6th. Justina Salducas in 7th. Michael Macher is going to come around to 8th position. So Michael Macher is going to finish 8th. We have about 15 seconds left on the countdown timer. Oh, I hope everyone does get to finish here, because it's always disappointing not getting the reverse grid position due to the countdown timer ticking you off. I don't think either Macher or Zara are going to get to finish this one. No, they didn't. Oh, so close. Oh my God, they both just crossed the line. I don't know if that counted. I don't know if that counted towards the reverse grid time. Yes, it just about did, but the reverse grid should now be going to Matt Titley, because Matt Titley will be classified in 10th rather, but it's not going to due to the countdown timer. And I'm sure it was announced that the countdown timer was going to be removed, so I'm a little bit surprised it hasn't been. But whatever the case, well, Titley starting from the back, and I don't really think he's going to protest that, seeing as he didn't exactly make qualifying either. So he's not had the same amount of track time as the others. But at the end of that, it was Falzon who won from Tabone, Grech, Absmire, Alessandro Grech, Gandor, Salducas, Macher, Zara, Titley, and then retirements were Great, Barbara, Streamer, Ashenko, Savut, Aguis, and Glen. And now we have a 3-minute wait until race 2, the reverse grid.
Yeah, that's right. We'll be kicking off in 3 minutes, so quite an exciting first race. We have a couple of instances that the steward will be reviewing after the race. Nothing so major. Let's hope we have an exciting second race now. Short commercial break, and we'll be back with you.
Gigabit Internet issa f'Malta. Gawdi mill-Giga Power biss mal-Melita Flexi.
And we're back 45 seconds away from the start of the second race. This casual race today from Sim Racing Malta, the Audi R8 LMS. On to you, Joshua, now.
So the grid for the start of this race, Sandro Zara will start on pole after finishing 9th in race 1. Of course, we reverse all of the finishers to make up this grid. Then it's Michael Macher, also on the front row of the grid, followed by Justina Salducas. Watch for him; he was very quick at some points in that race and could challenge for the win here. Jamal Gandor, Alessandro Grech, Jason Absmeyer, Terence Grech, Brandon Tavone, Clinton Falzen, Matt Titley, Jamie Gray, Omar Barbara, Daniel Streamer, John Agwis, and we've lost a couple of drivers. But now, wait for the lights, and we are going. Now, away we go. So the race has begun, and away at the front goes Sandro Zara, who moves across immediately to defend from the driver's behind. And we're going 3 wide behind, actually, for second position, and I think Salducas is going to get it to the inside. So Salducas does indeed go through into second position. Starting from the pits is Absmeyer and Tabone. So second and third from race 1 are in the pits already. Now, what's happened there? I've got no idea. But Tabone now exiting the pits a long way back. He's got a lot of ground to make up here. The drivers who didn't make it into this race were Ashenko, Samut and Glen. But at the front of this field, it's going to be Zara leading, followed by Salducas and Gandor. But Gandor runs over the grass there and loses out well, Salducas definitely is ahead of him. And then behind him, stream the rest of the cars as well. I'll update you on the full order as we come through. Absmeyer is also now out of the pit, and he also has a lot of time to make up. I wonder why second and third place from race 1 decided to start from the pits. I'm really quite baffled by that. It might be because they thought there was going to be more opening carnage. It might also be just because they had some sort of issue. But whatever the case, after lap 1, the gap or the order is Zara and Salducas, but Salducas is going to the inside of turn 1 and he takes the lead. I told you to look out for him, and Salducas takes the lead of the race immediately. Then it's Zara, Gandor, Alessandro Grech, then it's Macher rather, Terence Grech, although Grech is already ahead of Macher, as is Clinton Falzen. Then it's Jamie Gray, Omar Barbara, Daniel Streamer, Agwis, Tabone, Titley and Absmeyer. And those are the 14 drivers who did make the start of this race. But it's Salducas leading from Zara just at the front here. No, Zara's dropped back through the order, so Gandor is in second now, followed by Alessandro Grech. So Gandor up into second, and Grech looks to be challenging him. In fact, Gandor could challenge for the lead here. So that battle we saw for 5th place in the last race, 4th down to 5th, or 4th through to almost 9th at some points, looks like it could be the battle for the lead now. And after that lap, the order's about to update itself. We're about to see Zara drop 4 places, or I am. There we go. Salducas leads the race, followed by Gandor, Grech, Zara and Terence Grech. But look at second as Grech gets Gandor. Alessandro Grech is up into second position now. He darts through at turn 1, so Alessandro Grech up into second position ahead of Jamal Gandor. They're only just behind Salducas, remember, so still this is a proper battle for the lead of the race. Salducas has a little bit of a buffer, but Grech and Gandor still with each other, and Gandor's going to the inside of the chicane. He seems to be very fast in a straight line, and can he leave his braking later? He doesn't. Oh, but look at Grech going over the grass now, and Gandor is going to get a better run, but Grech keeps it on the inside, so Grech still in second position here, ahead of Gandor. My goodness, this is still very close, and well, Gandor's going to have to look for another opportunity to charge back through if he can, possibly down into turn 1. But look at Sandro Zara right in his tail still. He's still absolutely under attack for that 3rd position. Zara's not given up on it yet. As we cross the line on this lap, indeed we get confirmation that Grech is ahead of Gandor, and the gap to the lead is now 2.6 seconds as second and third were battling on that lap. They lost about 4 seconds, well, about 2 to 3 seconds on Salducas ahead. So Salducas leading this race by a long way now, getting away from the rest of the pack. But still the battle for second is on. And third and fourth are side by side. Grech is going to the inside of third position here. Terence Gregg to the inside and doesn't quite get it. But Zara leaves the door open and they're still side by side, and that's a very brave move from Terence Gregg. Probably the bravest I've seen to go on completely the wrong side of the bus stop. Keeps it within the lines, I believe, and gets ahead of Sandro Zara. I can't quite believe that happened. The 4th position there. Clinton Falson's right with them, as is Machair, Barbara and Streamer. But what a move that was to, well, he lost the apex of the corner and still didn't have the overlap, but managed to hold on around the outside of the 2nd and 3rd parts of the bus stop. Now, I've got no idea how that's physically possible, but he's done it, so, well, hats off to Terence Gregg there. Now I see the confirmation that Gregg did get past Zara on that lap, as we see Barbara going side by side with Machair into turn. Oh, someone's in the wall. It's Zara. Zara is in the wall out of turn 1. He was running in 5th position, so that's a big shame for Sandro Zara, who has spun it into the barrier. Of course, he had a spin in race 1 as well, as he bucked over the transition from grass to tarmac, and then spun the car around at the outer loop. But now he's had an incident at turn 1, and I'm going back on the stream to look at just how that happened. I think it'll be just off camera there. Yeah, just got over the curb and looped the car around and went into the inside barrier. But, well, it's a shame for Sandro Zara, and now Machair is ahead of Falzon for 6th. For 5th it will be now, so Machair back up into 5th position. Remember, he started on the front row of the grid, dropped to 7th, now he's back up into 5th position with the incidents on that lap, ahead of Clinton Falzon. So we overtook race 1 winner. Now that's going to be something that's that he's going to be proud of, surely. And after that huge sort out, the top 5 is Sal Dukas, Gregg, Gandor, Gregg, that's Terence Gregg in 4th, and then Machair, but Machair is really under attack from Clinton Falzon here. And still 2nd close between Alessandro and Gandor. And Falzon is going to the inside of Machair down into the bus stop, but doesn't manage to get himself alongside. Might have actually touched the rear of Machair's car there. Certainly looks as if he was close enough to have done. So Falzon getting a little bit impatient with Machair here. Impatient, rather. And you can't really blame him because it's attack or be attack now. He's got Barbara and Streamer right behind him, and Barbara is going to the outside of our race 1 winner. Not quite getting through there. So the gap now between Gregg and Gandalf for 2nd has come out to over a 2nd. They've spread out a little bit. It's all about that long chain from 5th down to 8th. And Falzon, well, Machair. Oh, but Falzon's in the wall. No, our race 1 winner has hit the wall. And that might have done some suspension damage there. He's looped it around on the curb, just like Sandro Zara did. And he's lost several positions from that. I was just about to say, Machair is doing a great job of holding off Falzon. Now he doesn't need to, because Falzon has been into the barrier. But now Barbara is right on the tail of Machair for 5th position. Oh my word, Machair really demonstrating some very good defensive skills here. But Clinton Falzon, our race 1 winner, has been into the barrier. Seems to be running okay, but that won't have helped, certainly, and he lost several positions from that. I believe he's lost 4 or 5 positions there. So we'll see how many positions he did drop. He was in 6th before all of that. And now as we come out of that lap, we'll see how many positions he drops. Again, they're close for 2nd. Gregg and Gandor are very, very close. And Falzon is now 10th, so he lost 4 positions out of that. And Jason Absmeyer is our first retirement. So Jason Absmeyer, who finished 3rd in race 1 and had a lot of pace, is out of race 2. And we didn't see how that happened or why that was. But Jason Absmeyer, we saw him starting from the pit, and he's out of the race now as Barbara attacks Machair. He takes a little look to the outside, but doesn't quite manage to get through there. And now, Terence Gregg Well, I thought I saw him making a mistake. I think that was just my eyes playing tricks on me. But wow, real chain of cars heading down into the penultimate corner now again. Look at Streamer looking to the inside of Barbara. Does he get him? He might actually. He forces his way through. Daniel Streamer up into 6th position now. Daniel Streamer, 6th position. John Agris looks as if he might want to get involved in this. As does Brandon Tabone now. Tabone starting from the pits, making his way through the order. And Grech and Gandor about half a second apart for second still. As Machair now has Daniel Streamer to hold off. Of course, we've had he's had to hold off several other people in this race so far. As Gandor takes a look at Grech there, but doesn't manage to get through, and now he's going to run over the grass like he loses a bit of momentum. But Machair, of course, had to hold off Falzen. He had to hold off Barbara. Now he's having to hold off Streamer as well. Yeah, Machair really showing some good defensive techniques here. And he's absolutely needed to. Now, as we cross the line this time around, the gap to the lead is over 5 seconds now. It's 5.1 seconds. So Saldukas getting away from Alessandro Grech and the rest of the mate. But Jamal Gandor still sticking right with Alessandro Grech. And if he can get a good run up the hill, he might be able to attack again, as Streamer has now passed Machair. Oh, there's contact. Machair tried to come back at him, but made contact with him into turn 1. Machair gets spun around. Streamer runs over the escape road. And Agris and Tabone are both going to go past. So Agris gets 5th. Tabone gets 6th. Falzen is through, not into 7th because Streamer is still there. But he's through definitely into 8th. As Machair loses that place. But what a shame there. It was a close battle up until that point. I wonder if the stream caught it. I'm just looking back to see if they did. I don't think we did actually, but it was, well, an unfortunate incident there. Sandra Zara had an off at turn 1 that I didn't see. That was caught on the stream. And now I see that Tabone and Agris are fighting again. And Tabone's got it.
So actually there were some contacts here that will be reviewed later on also by the stewards. So that we'll see what actually happened and apply the necessary penalties.
In fact, Brandon Tabone's up into 5th place on that lap, ahead of Streamer, Falzen and Machair. In fact, Machair is the first car to pit now with John Agris. So Agris, Barbara and Machair all in the pits this time around. And Sandro Zara now has retired from this race. So Zara, our second proper retirement. We have 12 cars remaining here. But 3 cars have gone into the pits. Agris, Barbara and Machair. After 9 laps of the race. Again, slightly earlier than I would have thought pit window would have opened from, but oh well. Seems that it's the start of lap 10 that counts. As into the pits come the 3 leaders, so Saldukas, Grech and Gandor all in together. This is an interesting one, and that means that Terence Grech will temporarily take the lead of the race. But Saldukas, Alessandro Grech and Gandor are all in the pits at the same time here.
Actually, Sandro Zara sent us a message that he lost his force feedback on his wheel. That's why he failed.
So Sandro Zara retiring through a hardware failure. That's always a big shame. And now, out of the pits come the 3 effective leaders. Alessandro Grech still ahead of Jamal Gandor. Justin Saldukas still ahead of them both. We'll see what the gap is as they cross the line this time around. Also in the pits on that lap with Daniel Streamer and Clinton Falzen. So, will Terence Grech pit this time around? He does. Yes, he does. So into the pits comes Terence Grech. He was leading the race on the road after the leaders stopped there. He wasn't leading it effectively, but he was leading it on the road. And he'll come out in about 4th position here. So Terence Grech stops the car. Now, the gap between Salducas and Alessandro Grech is, well, that's come out, hasn't it? Yeah, that's come out. That's at about, so it's at about 6.6 seconds there. Still, Gandor sticking right with Grech. Oh, he's spinning. Gandor's spinning. We've seen turn 1 catching out so many people so far. And now Gandor has spun the car and been into the inside wall. That's about the 4th spin we've seen at turn 1 there. So Gandor becomes its latest victim. He was in 3rd position, and he's still in 3rd position because Tabone wasn't able to get past him. But he's a long way back from Grech now. He lost a lot of time with that. Into the pits on that lap as well came Matt Titley. Titley just making the most of a spoilt race weekend, really. But better to be on track than not at all. So this will be probably the last lap of the pit window. Yeah, it will be. Drivers who still need to pit include, well, I'm not sure. So I don't know if, I think John Agries has pitted. I don't know if Brandon Tabone has. We'll see this time around. So Salducas crossed the line first, followed by the 2 Grechs. So Terence Grech did indeed get ahead of Jamal Gandor and all of that. So Jamal Gandor loses 3rd, and now we have the 2 Grechs on track together. Decided to confuse me a bit. It's Alessandro ahead of Terence, and they're actually quite close. About, well, they're less than half a second apart, so they're in a proper battle here, proper combat between Terence and Alessandro Grech for 2nd position here. Also close, Clinton Falzon and Daniel Streamer, but Falzon is ahead of him. So Falzon making his way past Streamer after Falzon's spin earlier on. And out of the race now has gone Matt Titley. So Titley retires, and we have 11 drivers remaining in this race. So after the pit stages, it is Justinas Salducas who crosses the line first. We still have 11 laps to go, and I'll be reading out the cars as they cross the line to tell you the order. So Alessandro Grech crossed in 2nd, followed by Terence Grech. Terence Grech is only just behind in less than half a second. There's a proper battle there. And I might have to watch them as they go up through this section, the S's, see if Terence gets a run on Alessandro. Jamal Gandor is 4th, followed by Brandon Tabone, and then a close battle between Clinton Falzon and Daniel Streamer. Then it's John Agries in 8th. Omar Barbara is 9th. No run there for Terence Grech. Michael Macher exiting the final corner in 10th, so all of that defence, I'm afraid, has worn off a bit. And then it's going to be Jamie Gray. It seems everyone's still on the lead lap here, all of the runners, but Gray can see Salducas in the background, I think. And Salducas pits. Now what's Salducas doing in the pits? He's already been into the pits. Is this a drive-through? This could be a drive-through penalty for the race leader, who now loses the lead of the race. Now that might be for speeding in the pits there. Whatever's happened, Justinas Salducas is in the pits again. He's actually making a pit stop. So something's happened to Justinas Salducas. Maybe he's got damage. Maybe he just... I wonder whether he didn't realise or maybe he forgot to refuel, and now he's having to refuel that 1 litre. Whatever the case is, Justinas Salducas is in the pits, and he's lost the lead of the race through that. So through have gone Alessandro Grech and Terence Grech. They're now leading this race. So the battle between the 2 Grechs, that is for the lead of this race now. And I've got no idea what's happened to Justinas Salducas. He's still in the pits. Well, now he's exited it. Now I'm just trying to work out what position he's in. He's a long way down the order. I think he's P9. He's P9. So Justinas Salducas loses 9 positions. Or 8 positions, rather. Now that's very bizarre. I mean, I don't think we'll know what actually happened to Saldukas until after the race there, but I'm afraid that's the chance of a race victory gone for Justinas Saldukas. And, well, for no apparent reason. Surely there must have been a reason, but we don't know what that was. There's a lot of support for Justinas in the Facebook chat, I see. A lot of people cheering for him there, but, well, your dreams have not come true, I'm afraid. Well, Saldukas now crosses the line. He's 46.3 seconds behind the leader, running in 9th position. In fact, he has 15 seconds to make up on Barbara ahead of him. I reckon 9th is going to be his proper finishing result here, unless someone has an incident or something ahead of him. So that's an unfortunate result. As to the inside goes Terence Gregg, very nearly takes a look for the lead there. The battle for the lead separated by less than 0.2 of a second as they cross the line now. This is a properly close battle for the lead of the race, and I bet a couple of laps ago they wouldn't have expected to have been fighting for the lead. Grech and Grech, remember, not related. And there's a battle going on for 3rd as well between Gandor and Tabo. So battles up and down the field. In fact, there's a battle for 5th. Between Balzen and Streamer still. So Streamer really sticking with Balzen. Balzen appears to be struggling. He's not anywhere near the pace he was on race 1, and that might be due to possible damage after flouting the wall at turn 1 earlier on. Possibly. That's just speculation. As wide runs Alessandro Grech. Terence Grech might have a good run on him down the start-finish straight this time. Let's see. Oh! Well, Terence slightly tagged the wall there on the exit of the corner. And almost 0.7 of a second, just under 0.7 of a second, is the gap between the two of them as they cross the line. And wide, they both run. Terence runs wider through turn 1 there, as they both navigate the car of Jamie Gray. Jamie Gray now a lap down. And we don't have long in this race left. Over the grass slightly runs Terence Grech. Of course, we've seen a lot of drivers running slightly over that grass on the inside of the 4th apex of the bus stop so far today. That's really been one of the incident spots where drivers threw away laps in qualifying and threw away overtakes in the race. It's been where we've seen drivers just sort of getting out of the rhythm and losing that momentum. And talking of losing momentum, I think that Terence Grech has had a bit of a bad lap there. In fact, he must have made a mistake as I was looking away there, because he's now 3.4 seconds back, and he lost about 3 seconds in first and third, or second and third sectors there. So Terence losing a lot of time to Alessandro. And that might be the lead of the race over. We have 6 laps remaining, less than 6 laps remaining now. Still a close battle on for 3rd between Gandor and Tabo. And Tabo appears to be the quicker driver of the two, but is struggling to follow Jamal Gandor. Of course, it's very difficult when you get to the back of the car because you have ahead, because you have to brake slightly earlier, be slightly more cautious through the corners, and just generally be more careful. Meanwhile, fastest first sector of anyone from Justinas Saldukas, so he's certainly driving in anger now, but I'm afraid it's too little too late, because due to a surprise and mystery pit stop, he's running 9th. So whatever happened to Saldukas, we'll never know. Well, we might, but we won't know for now. And again, Terence Grech loses a lot of time on that lap. As I was looking away, he lost about another 3 seconds. So maybe Grech's struggling here, possibly with tyres or something like that. Well, that could be an interesting development. I'll watch his sector times now. Yeah, another 0.8 per second loss to Alessandro. So Terence is losing a lot of time here. And he's about to be unlapped by Jamie Gray. So Terence Grech really struggling here. Now, I don't know why that is. He might have damage, possibly. I saw him tagging the wall out of the final corner a couple of laps ago. Or he might just have rubbish tyres now. And again, 1.3 seconds lost in the second sector.
It seems he has some damage on his car. I think when he tapped the wall, or because on the straight, the steering is not responding straight.
Oh, you're right. Look at that. The steering is hanging to the left there.
Yeah, to the left.
I went on board to check. And indeed, the car is hanging, or the steering is hanging to the left. So Terence Grech has damaged his car, and now it's all about hanging on to that second position. It's going to be a difficult task, because he's losing 3 seconds a lap to Gandor behind, and we have 4 laps remaining, and the gap between them is 6 seconds, so he's not going to hold it at this current rate. And he needs to defend with a damaged car. Now that's going to be interesting. So this battle for third is about to turn into the battle for second, as again Salducas sets the fastest first sector of anyone. Salducas currently holds the fastest lap of the race by a long way. Another 1.1 seconds lost from Terence Grech there. 0.6 lost to Gandor. So Gandor catching quickly. Tabone right with Gandor. Grech is in trouble. We have 3 laps of this race remaining. And the gap is 4 seconds. But it's coming down by about 2 to 3 seconds per lap. So they are definitely going to be right with Grech by the end of this race. It's going to be a 3-way scrap for second position, and if Grech can hold it off, then he would have been, well, he would have shown some very good defence, I'm sure. And remember, don't discount Brandon Tabone here, because he is right with Jamal Gandor. He knows, though, that he needs to work with Gandor now to get towards Grech, and then have a 3-way fight and come out on top, take advantage of Gandor getting through Grech, and go with him, and possibly get 2 in 1. I've seen it done before. Penultimate lap now. Alessandro Grech starts the penultimate lap of the race, but it's Terence Grech that we're all watching. That's where the tension lies. There's actually a car between him and the car behind. That's Jamie Gray, who is a lap down to Terence Grech. And the gap is 1.4 seconds with 2 laps remaining, and round goes Tabone. Tabone's lost it. He's in the wall. So turn 1 catches out another victim, and it's Brandon Tabone from 4th place. He's lost 4th. He's lost 5th. He's possibly going to lose 6th. So through goes Fowlson into 4th. Through goes Streamer into 5th. And well, Tabone is not going to be happy about that one. And now Gandor is right with Grech. Goodness me, this has all changed. And now that's given Tabone some, or that's given Gandor some real breathing space. He can just focus on attacking Grech now without having to worry about defending either. And this should be relatively straightforward from Gandor. He's going to the outside of the penultimate corner here. Grech still being aggressive. He's holding him off. But around the outside goes Gandor, and he makes the move stick. So Gandor up into second. We saw that coming. And Tabone is not going to be there to capitalise on it. And we're on the final lap of the race now. Alessandro Grech is leading us up through the S's on the final lap of the race. His lead is 16.8 seconds. It didn't look like it would be dominated. It looked as if Grech was truly attacking him. But and of course, he had to fight his way through due to it being a reverse grid. But now, Grech is leading this race after Salducas' surprise and mystery pit stop. And somehow, in a very unexpected way, Alessandro Grech is coming through. He just has 2 corners to go until the end of this race. And I've been trying to add up the virtual points, but I'm really not sure who's going to win this event overall. I think it might still be Clinton Falzon who wins this event overall. As through the final corner now comes Alessandro Grech. Out to the final corner he goes, and Alessandro Grech is going to win race 2, and he crosses the line, and there he goes. Alessandro Grech wins race 2. He's going to be followed across the line by the rest of the pack. It's going to be Jamal Gandor who inherits 2nd place on the penultimate lap of this race, and Gandor gets a surprise 2nd place. Terence Grech holds on to 3rd. It's going to be Clinton Falzon in 4th place, who might have just won the event overall. I'll have to try to work that out a bit more. Daniel Streamer is 5th. John Aguis is going to be 6th. I'm just wondering where Alessandro Grech finished in race 1. I'm going to go back on the stream and work that out. Alessandro, oh, was he 5th? He was. So I think Clinton Falzon just won that. Actually, was it? Yeah, I think Clinton Falzon just won that. And I think that Brandon Tabone's spin cost him the overall win there. So after Aguis came Barbara, Tabone, Salducas, Machaya, and Gray. And those were the 11 finishers. Then we had the retirements, Titley, Zara, and Absmeyer, and the non-starters, Ashenko, Samut, and Golin. But I think that if Tabone had finished that race in 2nd or 3rd there, he would have won this event overall. Or did Grech win it? I think that was between Grech and Falzon. I want the points. I want to add up the points here, but I'm not quite sure.
The points are the same as the previous casual races, so they are 25. I need to check exactly.
So Falzon got 25 for his win at first, and then he was 4th. And 4th place is 12 points, so that's 27. And Grech, he would have got 15 points for 3rd in race 1, and he finished 3rd in race 2 as well. That's 30 points. Terence Grech, I believe, is our winner. So Terence Grech, with 2 3rd places, I believe, has just won this event overall, due to several incidents from his rivals in both races there. In fact, let's speak to him immediately. So, Terence, did you know when you crossed the line there? And I'm still not sure. We still haven't seen the points added up. But from my calculations, you've just won that event overall.
Hi. Yeah, I'm surprised hearing you there, because I thought I finished 2nd overall, because Clint was finished behind me. And I finished 3rd in both races, so I don't know exactly if I won or not, but if I won, yeah, I'm surprised.
Well, you definitely beat Clinton. But wow, I must say, tense races. Race 1 for a start, you really had to fight for that 3rd place. I saw you in a chain of 4 cars for quite a lot of that. Talk us through how that looked from your point of view. Race 1 first.
Yeah, on the first laps I was doing pretty well. I was behind Brandon and Clint, and they were battling with each other. And then, unfortunately, I don't know which lap exactly was it, maybe 3rd or 4th lap. I missed the brake at the first corner. I went wide, and there was Alessandro behind me, and he overtook me there. He was alongside. And then I tried to overtake him in the inside. It was a bit risky, to be honest. I just tried it, and unfortunately, I just spun there and lost several places.
Well, 3rd place in race 1, then turned into 3rd place in race 2. You probably could have had a win, but talk us through what happened. You just suddenly seemed to drop dramatically off the pace.
Yeah, I really had a great chance to win there, unfortunately. But in the last laps, the last corner, I really barely hit the wall, and I got suspension damage. And even the front bumper, it's saying that it was missing. And I lost top speed, and even my wheel, it wasn't aligned properly. And yeah, I just was losing about 2 to 3 seconds every lap, fortunately.
You see, I saw the contact, but I really didn't get too excited about it because I didn't quite see how that would have actually damaged the car. But still, yeah. Well, by my calculations, you win that event. So well, did you get on with this car and track combination? How was it to drive?
To be honest, I didn't practice that much because I was a bit busy with my work. And well, I just came from work, like I worked 12 hours today, and I just came immediately to race. And yeah, that's why I'm so surprised to win this event.
Fantastic. Well, great to speak to you, and well done.
Thanks.
Anyway, moving from one Greg to the other, we have here our race 2 winner, Alessandro Greg. Hello, Alessandro.
Hi.
So, race 1, you came across the line at the end in P5 after some close battles all the way through. Race 2, you went on to win, but talk us through that race 1 for a start. You were having a pretty close battle with Absmeyer towards the end there. Are you disappointed? Too disappointed that you couldn't pass him?
I was playing pretty conservatively for the last 5 laps. Then last 2 laps, I tried to push and give it my all. As you saw in the race, on the last lap, I almost spun out completely on the second to last corner. And I was glad that by the time I came back on track, Jamal Gandor didn't catch up to me. So I was happy with 5th.
And then, of course, you fought your way through the order to win race 2. Are you quite surprised about that? Because it certainly wasn't looking likely at one point, but at the end of all of it, you came through to win it by 17 seconds. Just seemed like everyone was jumping out of the way, didn't it?
I didn't notice I was first for a good 2-3 laps. Then I looked on the bottom left and I saw my name on front, so there was a burst of pressure. And I saw Terence behind me for quite a few laps, and I was checking my rear view mirror on the start-finish straight every time, and when I actually saw him hit the wall on the last turn, it was a bit of ease, and I just stayed focused on being consistent.
And then, of course, you went forward to win the race. I take it it was quite a fun one there. How did you like the actual event as a whole?
GT3 cars are my favorite class, and it's a great track as well. And the second race was the most enjoyable for me, not because I won, because when Terence was coming out of the pits, it was really, really close, and they wanted to make sure that T1 was perfect in order to make sure that I come out on front as soon as it comes out.
All right, well, good to speak to you, and well done on that race 2 victory.
Thank you.
So next up, we have Brandon Tabone, who was very quick all throughout the race weekend. Hello, Brandon.
Hello. How are you, Joshua?
Yes, yeah, very good. So for a start, you were right with Clinton in qualifying, about less than 0.2 of a second off him, and then it stayed that way at the start of the race. In fact, you led into turn 1. Talk us through those first couple of laps, having to get through to the lead and then fend off Clinton, and then of course the move in the end.
Yeah, in the start, I had a very good launch, and I just passed him in the first turn. Then he was behind me for, I think, three laps. He was pushing a lot, but he had the pace, and he managed to do the move, and he won the race.
And then, of course, you went on to finish second. You actually caught up to him a little bit on a couple of occasions. I think he was making a couple of mistakes. But altogether, how did you feel with second? It seemed as the most disappointing position to finish, but was it in this case?
I think Glen deserved the win. He was fast, so I was happy with the second place. He did a few mistakes at the last few laps, so I thought I was gonna get behind him, but he managed to keep 1.5 seconds till the last.
And then, of course, race 2 didn't quite go your way. There were a couple of incidents. For a start, though, we saw you starting from the pits. That was interesting. Can you explain what happened there?
Yeah, my second race was a disaster. So I was behind Absmeyer. The lights were on, all 5 red, and he jumped, and I jumped behind him. So I started from the pits. Then after a few, I think 4 laps, I realized that I went out with the soft tire. So I did the whole race with the soft tires that can manage only 2 laps.
Oh, goodness gracious. So I take it you were absolutely looking forward to that pit stop then?
At the pit stop, I didn't change the tire, so because I saw them that the wear was very good, but they were overheating, and I was getting cautious on the tires. But at last 2 laps, they were gone.
And then, of course, in the end, 6th position. I believe you had a spin before that, though. Altogether, I take it the race could have been better.
Yes, it could have been a lot better, but that's racing.
Yeah, of course. It was actually, it was P8 in the end, but oh well, better next time, I suppose. But well done for your podium in race 1, and good to speak to you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have our race 1 winner, Clinton Falzen. Hello, Clinton.
Might have some issues with his mic, actually.
Right. Okay, we can come back to Clinton. We do have Justinas Saldukas. Hello, Justinas.
Hello.
So, Justinas, talk us through race 1 for a start. You were really in the thick of the action, eventually coming through to 7th position. But how was it? You certainly had more pace than points there, I should say.
Well, I did a mistake in the pits. I chose to change the tires, and I saw everyone just getting 1 liter of fuel, and I guess that is the best strategy, and I lost a lot of time there. So that was the end of it.
That explains why you dropped back. I get it, Nate. So in the end, 7th position, but it gave you a good position for the reverse grid. So talk us through the start from your point. I bet it's always exhilarating taking the lead of the race.
Yeah, it was really a good start for me. Somehow I managed to keep up 1st place in the chicane. It was quite dangerous there, I guess. Sorry, Alexandra, if I bumped. But everything was good until I slightly touched the wall going into the start lane. And that ruined my suspension, and car was hard to turn, so I went to pits, and fixing was too long actually to continue.
So it was damage that cost you the win in the end. That makes sense.
Yeah, but anyway, it was really nice. At least this battle in the 1st lap.
Yeah, so you did lead the race for quite a long time. I bet it's really quite gutting knowing that you were leading by such a long way, and you didn't really need to be pushing, and yet you had to pit for damage anyway. That's probably one of the most devastating things that can happen to a racing driver.
Yeah, I guess I got too carried away with the pace.
Well, fastest lap of the race, so you definitely did have the pace there. But anyway, well done for the pace, even if the results didn't come your way. And we'll speak to you later.
Thank you.
Now we have a possible final driver. It all depends on whether Clinton Falzen is going to be able to make it in with his microphone issues. But we do have a Jamal Gandor.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Yeah, we can hear you. So, well, Gandor, you were actually 2nd in race 2, so you did manage to pick up a podium there. But talk us through race 1 for a start. You were 5th in that, I believe. So not bad.
Well, I would like to first thank Sim Racing Malta for everything they're doing. It's such a great thing. I haven't been involved with the races before. I'm a principal for a team, and I have 2 drivers competing in the Porsche Continental Cup. But from what I've seen tonight, it's such a great atmosphere and professional racing, especially the Grecs. They're good. I was like fighting in a way that I was happy that nobody is going to hit me or something like that. So we understood each other. We gave each other enough room in both races, and I'm absolutely happy with how it the outcome was. So the first race was a little bit of struggle for me. The car was like, I was struggling all weekend with the damper settings and all that. But after that, in the second race, I had a very good start, and I took it from there. But every corner, the car wanted to bite me. So I'm happy with what I've done. And for someone who's been away from the seat for quite a while, it seems that I still have it in me.
Yeah, absolutely. I bet it's very, very different actually driving to watching your drivers driving your car. Which do you think is more tense?
Well, of course, if I did GT Academy before, so I know I've been sim racing for 20 years, so I know how it is tremendous to be the driver. But since I did GT Academy, I had a responsibility on my shoulders to move sim racing to my region and try to enlighten everyone about it, not just as a hobby. Nowadays, it's like a gateway into real motorsport, as Sim Racing Malta advisors would tell you. Yeah, it's always more exciting to be the driver.
Very, very good. And well, I bet you weren't expecting second place in race 2 there. How did you manage it?
Well, the setup that I had was very good for consistency. Or at least I'm very known for consistency. I'm not a very good qualifier, but I know myself being good for consistency. So I kept on hitting those laps one at a time, and I thought whoever is around me either had a problem or I'm suddenly quick. So I took the advantage, kept my head down, and that's it.
And in the end, came through to second place. So yeah, very well done for that podium, and we'll speak to you next time.
Thank you.
Now, I see, well, I don't see a muted icon, so I think we might have Clinton Falzer now, am I right?
I think you're wrong.
No, he was supposed to be okay. I don't know if the push to talk actually working now. I managed to get unmuted, so we'll see if he has the push to talk working. Clinton, do you hear us?
Okay, well, that doesn't sound good. So Clinton Falzen, not here, I'm afraid, but whatever the case, that was a very exciting couple of races there, very close, and in the end, we still didn't know who'd won it overall. Of course, we still haven't officially tallied up the points yet, but I believe from my quick calculations that it was Terence Grech who won it with 30 points from Falzen's 27. But still, a very close race weekend, and good to see two different winners there with Clinton Falzen and Alessandro Grech. You could say three different winners with the overall winner, Terence Grech, as well. So, well, definitely the Grechs on form today. And of course, Sim Racing Malta always on form, and likewise today. Good to see our new partner here as well. In fact, to thank all of the partners, I'll hand over to Adrian Figallo to end this broadcast.
Yeah, and we have to choose the best driver of the race.
And actually, we have Clinton.
Finally.
Okay,
finally.
We'll go back at the end to do the partners and the sponsors. But for now, Clinton Falzen. So our race 1 winner, and well, and pole sitter as well. So you definitely had the pace here today. How did you find it?
Yeah, I definitely had a good pace, good race pace, even in qualifying. I didn't make my record because my record was 7.6, but I had 107, which is good for the pole. And then the race starting good. I had some accidents with back markers. Fortunately, I didn't damage the car. I made even 2 saves, saving the car from spinning. But finally, everything went well on the first race.
I tell you what, we saw one of those on the very last lap of the race. I bet
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I dropped from 4th gear to 2nd to save the car. and it was a miracle that I I saved it. But
Well, it's a good job you did, I tell you.
yeah, unfortunately, the second race wasn't so easy. I had the car totally damaged. In fact, my pace was 2.5 seconds slower. And I've been thrown away by some other drivers, but that's racing, so it's not always going to be on my side.
Well, P4 in the end, and I believe you were P2 in the overall order as well. Are you relatively happy with that?
Yeah, sure. I was thinking I was doing better in race 2, but as I told you, unfortunately, I did 20 laps with the car totally damaged, and as I told you, my pace was almost 3 seconds slower, so I didn't get the pace to race and overtake the other guys in front. But
well,
I'm happy.
Yeah, still a very good job, and well done for your race 1 win, and we'll speak to you next time.
Thank you very much. Thanks everyone.
So now back to Adrian Figallo for the sponsors and partners.
Actually, I'm gonna pass on the word very quickly to Justin, because as you know, we need to mention and choose the winner of the Virtual Racing Engineer software.
All right.
I think the three of us can agree that we have chosen 2 drivers for the reason that they were consistent. They are newcomers to our series as well, and not just that, but they shown a good potential during the race. Am I right, George, Adrian?
Yes, we saw Jameson Absmeyer was pretty consistent. Unfortunately, he had
to retire because he had some problems with his pedals, new pedals that he said he just fitted yesterday or today. So I don't think it was the best choice from his side to do the last minute, and got some cable pinched. But as George was saying, we saw quite a good consistency from his side, and also from
Alessandro.
Greg.
I think Alessandro, after a long time without racing or touching even a simulator, I think we can say that we have chosen not Jason,
Alessandro.
Because as we said, he was very consistent, and I think since he's been racing with us, this was the first race that he won. I think, or maybe he placed first.
Yeah, that's right. It could be possibly. It could be like that. Yeah, as we said, we chose Alessandro Grech because from the beginning of the race we had after race 1 we were between Alessandro and Jason, but unfortunately Jason didn't see so much from him in the second race. And so the choice for today for winning the virtual racing engineer software is Alessandro Grech.
And the setup developer tools as well. So they have 2 copies: the virtual race car engineer and the setup developers tool, which will be helping him to set up a car much more easier than guessing what is this and what is that. Well, Alessandro is doing. He's learning engineering, if I'm not mistaken. Motorsport engineering. So I think he has an idea about how to set up a car. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure it will help him.
This one will help even more our target, that's Sim Racing Malta. We're not only about the races, but even about the engineering and putting the good people in the motorsport. So that's our ideas in practice.
Yeah, that's right. Very well said, George. So, we're at the end now of today's casual race. Would like to thank our general sponsors of Sim Racing Malta, which are Melita, GT Omega Racing, Textor, KSL, Continental Cars Limited, and Husingveld and Fanatec. But would like also to thank our supporting partners for the casual races, which are Sim News TV, Virtual Racing Engineer, and Goliath Coatings. We give you appointment for next week. I think Wednesday we're gonna go live again, me and Justin, with our live show and discussions about our races and any discussions with you. following us and then the questions from your sides, and then Thursday for our BTCC cash wheel race of next week.
Which they can register, because we did it yesterday, we published it yesterday, so you can apply for the race by going to simracingmotor.com, and there are all the details, including the download of the mod and the track, and maybe by tomorrow you will have the server up online where you can practice. I think that's basically it for today. It was a good race. I enjoyed it very much. I think it's since the last BMW races, the TMs, the cars were very close, and I think that's why people like a lot of GT cars more than Formula. Not because that we're not going to use any Formula cars, but I think in our community so far it seems that the GT is the most preferred. But as I said, we'll be choosing other mods to satisfy everyone.
Yeah, that's right. Last but not least, thanks Joshua Penny. We'll be with you next week. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
Gigabit Internet issa f'Malta. Gawdi mill-Giga Power. Biss mal-Melita Flexi.